Big love, big love, big love, big love, bitch. Krrr. Oh yeah, 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 oh yeah.
Tori's coming home in 31 hours.
You guys have spent way too much time in ghetto rooms or something. Wow.
Well, I was born in the trenches, and you sound like some fucking suburban bitch that shouldn't even be online. Are you dumb? Maybe you should go get a life and get the fuck off a Clubhouse, bitch. You sound a little too educated to be on here. Take it as a compliment. Take it as a compliment.
How's it hanging, Dad?
What do you want that for?
Bro.
Nah, I'm fucking hawk tuning everybody's face today. I swear to God. Not pumpkins, though.
No, do it in mine. I want it. I deserve it.
Yeah, you nasty little... You nasty.
Right now.
You better get in the kitchen for me right now.
Taylor, how you doing?
What is happening?
I don't know what's happening. The room's been taken over.
Welcome to Canada.
How's it going,
We're
George?
gonna get kicked out.
Big love. We should leave before that happens.
Kick my ass out. Hiya.
I was kicking out. We don't kick people out.
They don't pay my bills. Like I give a fuck. I'll just go to a new room. That was easy. The fuck?
Feel free.
You kick me. Drop kick me. Drop kick me.
She is used to getting kicked out of every room to be
Drop kick me.
You're stuck here. You're stuck.
1.5 hours.
You just have to leave on your own.
Big love, bitch.
John, what do you think? What's your opinion? What should we...
Well, all communication is spam, hypnosis.
Yeah, no, it's all communication is hypnosis. I know your drill.
No, it's all spam. She's a spammer. This is what she does. She goes, big love, big love, big love, bitch. Krrr. Oh yeah, 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 oh yeah. Big love, big love, big love, bitch. Free Tory, free Tory, free Tory. Big love. Krrr.
And I know your name's Republic, and you fucking make some stupid rooms you record. You got 18 hours of recordings of me. Who the fuck? Look, Mr.
That's it. He's got like 160 unique.
Oh my God. That's all?
I can't even count how many hours he's got of me.
That's rookie.
Honestly.
Johnny boy!
You make 10 fucking rooms at one motherfucking time because you got 10 motherfucking. And you.
What's the highest
They
level
love
of
one where
education you have?
don't you fucking touch
Sixth
my
grade.
mic. Kick me out the room, bitch. You got fucking rules now. You
Mute
work for me.
her!
You work for me.
It's the first stop, guys.
Bitch. Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Pussy hole.
It's not gonna stop, bro.
You got me activated now. Yeah.
This is literally what she does in every room. She gets kicked out of every room. She's a noise troll.
She can just hang out in the audience. We're not going to kick her out of the room. Wow, that was a lot of... I've never run into her before.
Big loves
Oh,
of
she
a
left.
energetic personality.
Yeah, you know. What do you... Someone said 6th grade. I asked, what was the highest level of education?
6th grade.
6th grade?
Yep.
Yeah, that's enough. Oh, how are you?
What up?
You Americans are so mean because saying everyone's uneducated. You guys are mean.
No, we're not. Like, we expect most people in developed countries to have at least an 8th grade education and possibly a 12th grade education.
I mean, she is
That's
Jamaican.
I have a lot of Jamaican friends. Most of them have been through high school. I know very few Jamaicans.
Yeah, but they're Jamaican Americans.
No, I know Jamaicans.
No, but Jamaicans are more strict than Jamaican Americans.
Exactly. They know their shit.
They make their kids go to school. They really are good parents.
They're very, very educated. Highly educated.
Yeah, that one must have been half Somali.
No, she's okay. Well, listen, I know you're joking right now, but it's not nice to say that because you don't know she could be caring
Just
for
said
it.
Jamaican.
What's that? How is that? That's got nothing to do with. It's not even offensive to say Jamaican.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, it's got
You
nothing
should
to
have
do
just
with.
said Jamaican or Jamaican American.
That's got nothing to do with what I'm saying. So anyway, some people have to care for family members. That's why they can't finish school. It doesn't always mean that they're just shit, and that's why they're not educated.
Wait,
Are you projecting?
She's projecting.
Okay, I'm gonna leave the room because I don't mind.
Bye, pumpkin.
I don't want to.
We just met.
See you, pumpkin.
It's very nice meeting you.
I don't like
It's very
spiteful.
nice meeting you, pumpkin pie.
I don't like spiteful people. Bye, Yakov. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Big love. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, Pepe. What has the blacks done wrong today?
Oh, who changed the title? Who made it new?
I did.
Oh, that's a good one.
I did, Yakov.
Yeah, that's good. Good. It's a good one. I don't have these hang-ups of like only I can change the title.
Mm-hmm.
John, you removed that dirty Zionist flag in your background, okay? Oh, sorry.
There's no dirty Zionist flag. Oh. There's like really
It's like way too many Jews in this room.
Oh my god, are you feeling comfortable?
Yes, I feel self-loathing coming on.
I thought you were Jewish. Son.
I am.
1, 2, 3,
I don't
4,
know who.
5.
Don't you forget?
Five
Don't you
out of-
forget me, Yakov.
5, 7. I don't know. I was counting the people I know.
Well, there's 6.
Okay. 6 out of 7.
Danny's autistic though. That's like a double Jew.
Hey, I'm autistic too.
Yeah, so am I.
Like
What?
diagnosed.
Wait, what,
No
Danny?
self-diagnosed.
No, not self-diagnosed. Like diagnosed by a
Wait.
doctor with ADHD,
Yeah, PDA.
ODD.
No, they said
Yeah,
PDD,
Asperger's,
pervasive
I bunch of
developmental.
That's what you have.
That was just one Haitian doctor. It depends. You know, it depends on the doctor and the time.
Why do they call it pervasive developmental disorder? It's supposed to happen.
Well, it comes with more, like.
This is gonna take her forever. Yeah, just look it up. It's gonna take her fucking 5 hours to try to like remember it.
Yeah.
You ever seen like an ADHD meetup group or something, and all these people with ADHD get together, and you know what happens?
John, you know what the best is?
Where do I find
Go
the
in-
meetup?
Go and look up oppositional defiant disorder
Oh my
on
god.
YouTube. Yeah, I got that. It's fucking amazing. Go look it up on YouTube, and then go into the comments section and watch all the ODBDs arguing with each other. It's fucking amazing.
I saw that happen on Reddit, but what I saw, because I said it's bullshit that oppositional defiant disorder just means that the kid has terrible
no.
parents. Yeah, they just
don't listen.
No, it's definitely real.
no. I blame the parents, and so did this one therapist. He said that if the parents have ADHD, then the kid doesn't know what to do, so the kid gets labeled as oppositional defiant disorder.
Wasn't that like what Monty Gabor said on Joe Rogan about ADHD? Said it's like the fight or flight thing.
Probably. I've seen them refer to it as like a hunter-gatherer type of trait that would help you survive as a hunter.
I mean, I have ADHD. I got diagnosed really young. I didn't. I wonder, can you even get diagnosed with oppositional defiance disorder or whatever if you have ADHD?
Yep. Yeah, I got ADHD, Asperger's, and before they removed it from the DSM-5, cocksuckers, and ODD.
Like he was a
oppositional
Nazi?
defiant disorder. No,
But then they said he wasn't. No, listen, yes. They said that he was collaborating, then they said he wasn't, then they said he was. Yeah.
He was
well,
an Austrian scientist who worked at the time of the Nazi Party, who received funding because they were over top of them for his funding. And then he was famously quoted as saying, "I don't understand why the Nazis hate the Jews so much." He says, "A lot of my friends are Jewish and they're very nice people." He ended up residing in modern day Palestine until he died.
Really? What was he doing over there?
He moved over there.
Wait, what was he in German?
What is modern day
he's Austrian.
Palestine?
Is Austrian or Swiss? Judea and Samaria? Shall I say Judea and Samaria?
Yeah, sure. We don't call it the West Bank.
Yeah. He resided in the kingdom of Palestine under the king of Palestine.
So wait, Sunan Abi, I see your name here is BHA Monkeys. Does that mean that African Americans in East St. Louis aren't the real Israelites?
Oh, you're referencing that piece of shit, Lion Zion. Yes, I agree. They are monkeys.
Ooh.
Damn, that's kind of.
Hello, how are you?
Just the BHI.
But
ones.
we're all descended
So
from
when my
nests
sister
and
was
trees, right?
When my sister was like 2 or 3, she had very bad nightmares, and she used to say that there was monkeys in the synagogue, and that was her nightmare.
And white people, they are actually Africans who lost their melatonin density in Caucasoid cave holes. And so thus, they have retained the true power of the melatonin density. And we are actually just dried out Africans or blacks. White people are just bleached blacks.
Piece of shit Samba. Light him up.
So the Coexistence New World Order has conducted Operation Gideon, striking over 400 Palestinian Gaza Hamas terrorist positions. And soon the first tranche of 1 million Palestinians will be escorted with buses and trucks into a work site in Libya.
Thank God.
Notice, it's not just free housing, it's a work site. They're going to get into the oil industry. It's going to be the biggest thing for the Palestinian Gazans ever. It's a jobs program, like most things at the end of the day.
I support it.
You can't...
Residents in Pittsburgh's Squirrel Hill and Shadyside neighborhoods awoke this weekend to find anti-Semitic propaganda strewn across their lawns and porches, reigniting trauma in the community. According to Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh, over 100 hate-filled flyers were distributed. They say that...
John, when did you go to Pittsburgh?
Were they the Goyim TV flyers?
No, this was... flyers contain a web address for Goyim Defense League.
Yeah,
A
that's what I'm
QR
saying.
code for the content, and it was all about every single aspect of the Jewish Talmud is satanic.
Pepe, I've been trolling the JQ radio on X.
Pepe has to say. What, Pepe?
So no, I mean I've talked to that Goyim. I knew it was the Goyim Defense League, but they have GoyimTV.com. But I've talked to the founder like a few
Wait, are you a
times.
subscriber?
No, him and I don't really get along.
Why? Because you had a falling out over like.
I didn't say I'm
priority.
big
I was
fuckers.
never like on the like I was kind of like more in like far right circles, but I wasn't in the like the JQ like or neo-Nazi spaces. But I mean sometimes like they're like we'd be in this same spaces as each other, but with him I just think he's very obnoxious and just I don't know, just a nutcase. But
Yakov.
He's the one who ends up, he basically, that's his tactic, is to put things in like a bag of rocks, like a flyer, and distribute them throughout neighborhoods.
They literally translate Adolf Hitler from German into English and gloat, and they're doing active translations of Adolf Hitler speeches from German into English.
They have
It's so cringe.
24/7 on X.
Yeah, I've been trolling them because I didn't even know what JQ meant until you mentioned it.
What is JQ?
Jewish question. So it's the most hardcore Nazi room on X, and when you hear a fat, disgusting pig Nazi woman start talking about the Jews,
Monica?
it is so crazy.
X spaces, but I only see like 4 or 5 spaces. How do you?
Wait, John, were you
You have
referencing
to-
Monica?
No, you have
Go
to.
into like the.
Yeah. You got to go into the tab.
Spaces
Spaces tab. Yeah.
tab. It'll give you a list.
Right, I'm there, and
It's not 24/7. It's not 24/7.
Oh,
It's
okay, 'cause
certain hours.
Like
But.
most of the shit is Bitcoin. Like it's like useless to me.
It might not. Your feed might be somewhat. What do you call it? Personalized.
Just go. Yeah, you can't always find it. Like if you don't follow Adrian Dittman, you're not going to see an Adrian Dittman space.
Someone was saying something about like the American doing something with digital currency. Is something like gonna happen?
I don't know.
No, not anytime.
Danny is like the Ashley of chillism.
But it's
Is the what?
The
I know
Ashley of the
Ashley, and I'm
chillism.
so offended.
Oh, you should
How
be offended.
dare you?
You should be offended, Danny.
And I am so freaking offended
You
when
should
she.
be offended.
No.
You contribute nothing.
so it's so long story short,
Speak of the devil.
in like dissident like right wing circles, like there was those of us who kind of thought the JQ people were conspiracy theorists and over the top, and so we didn't really get along with them that well and with you publicly. But even in the people that kind of you get like the Groypers, for example, they do not get along with the, I guess you could say, Nazi types. They're for many different reasons, but they're like that guy who was distributing those flyers. They've been like online now. He's tried to ping me into his spaces on there. They're basically going really hard against Christianity. They think that Christianity is Jewish, which I mean, I guess you can kind of say it's.
Kind of is.
And that it's since it's a universalist religion, you can't be like white first and be Christian, which I guess once again is kind of true. But he's just this guy's a weirdo.
Well, in that same area, a Muslim kid was arrested for defacing Squirrel Hill Synagogue and Jewish Federation with his little.
Is his name Mohammed or Ahmed?
Yeah, or Abdul.
One of the three.
With his little, as a Jew, anti-Zionist, brainwashed, indoctrinated, like fucktard. Yeah.
Kind of interesting how none of the mosques or none of the caliphate centers throughout America, none of them seem to have any hate coordinated against them, but yet they're the ones who are most likely going to be the ones committing terrorist acts in this country as a result of Operation Gideon.
Well, they're the only ones that are like extremists in the name of their religion. But it's also, they do have a very effective deterrent. Like, if you are, let's say somebody in France or England, and you're fed up, and let's say you vandalize a mosque, well, you know that they're going to have a violent reaction. They'll probably try to hurt your family, and once you're in jail, they're going to end up getting you. They're inherently violent, and so that in and of itself stops people from fucking with them.
So what you're saying is we should be more violent to them?
Well, I was in this X space. Last night with this J6 survivor, and he was saying that jihadist attacks are coming to America. So he was encouraging everyone to form county militias or even street militias, with your neighbors, to train with firearms, to start networking. And to me, that's like a micro problem. The bigger problem is really the fact that we're getting sold out every day by Congress and the Federal Reserve and plunged into forever debt and hyperinflation, and it's a race to the bottom.
The guy that was doing this?
I put it on YouTube.
Pepe wants to look him up.
Let me see.
No, because I think I know who he is.
Let me see. I put it on YouTube.
He's like a guy who just got out of prison.
Yeah, his
He's
name
like
is
a Jewish
Stuart
guy
Rhodes. Stuart Rhodes.
It's like he converted
He's not
to
Jewish.
Christianity.
He's not Jewish.
No, okay. Well, the guy who tried to do the White Lives Matter protests, he just got out of prison. He's a Jewish guy that converted to Christianity, and he's kind of like really grifting hard.
Man, what they did to the J6 prisoners with the solitary confinement shit, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up.
They brutalized those people. And they got brutalized by the Capitol Police. And the fucking Ashley Babbitt's head got blown off while she's trying to survive to get through a window. I mean, it is the biggest load of bullshit, but that's all in the past. I mean, the fact that Trump is the president and he's sitting here and they're trying to spend trillions of dollars more than we've ever anticipated, it's such a fucking scam. It's like, it's such bullshit, but there's nothing we can do. It's like you can't stop it. All you can do is just complain, but you can't seem to stop the runaway deficit and the runaway debt of the government. I mean, it's fucked up. It's not MAGA and it's not Maha. I mean, it's just business as usual.
Wait, you sound surprised that nothing's changed.
I don't know. Thomas Massey is like he's taking all the heat from Trump, saying we don't even talk to Thomas Massey. We've got nothing to do with him. He also doesn't talk to the head of the Federal Reserve. I mean, Speaker Mike Johnson seems to, it always seems to be the speaker. It does seem a lot like that show House of Cards, where the speaker is the one who kind of creates the momentum. And Mike Johnson and whoever the speaker is, whether it's Pelosi or that other guy, what's his face, the speaker seems to be the one who drives these bills and these $1 trillion deficits. But somebody just I'm running for Congress, and somebody just called me from some nonprofit organization called Term Limits. So I'm going to call her back shortly, but there's a lot of people that need to be decapitated, not literally, but they need to be removed from Congress, because if we don't get a bunch of Ron Pauls into Congress, you can kiss your future goodbye. Like, it will just, it's never going to run out, but it will be, when you go to the grocery store, and I don't know, there's just so many ways to hypothesize what the future is going to look like, but most young people today have walked into a shit field, not of their making, and the baby boomers are the ones at the top of the shithill.
Norm from Cheers died. George went dead at 76.
From Cheers?
Yeah, from Cheers. Everyone knew his name.
That's so sad. He was a great actor.
He was. Was he like a one-hit wonder? Kind of like in acting.
Who's the bigger success?
He
Ted
wasn't on anything
Danson?
else.
Who's the bigger success?
No,
Ted.
George.
Who's the bigger success? Ted Danson or what's his face? The other guy who made it big.
Kelsey Grammer?
No. He did that American Psycho type movie.
Who's calling me, Daniel?
Guess what? I got a song for you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Daniel's gonna sing us a song.
For me?
I got a song for you, J-Lo. Come up with the name. I'll tell you what I think.
What the hell was that?
The No Pants Waltz.
Are you singing from Cheers?
I want to go out to the dance and dance with a girl from France. But I can't go out. Oh, I can't go out until I find me pants. Where those are the pants? I can't have you seen me pants. I went out with the last week with my glass. Now I stand in better.
Hey, so, how you doing?
Hey,
What's
that's
up?
awesome.
What the
Okay,
fuck are we doing, Jacko?
Yo, I'm dead. That's awesome.
Okay, come on, Daniel.
Daniel,
Alright,
full of
okay.
surprises. Let me
Golf
just say.
clap for Daniel. Golf clap for Daniel. Okay. Yeah, come on.
and then you clap, and then you clap, so he doesn't know where it's coming from.
If I clap, I'll break my phone. Because all of us have our phone in one hand. We can't clap.
Okay. Wait, who sent him to? Oh, he left. El Normo.
Oh, don't make him a mod. You have to.
I just said
Don't kick
come on.
it.
I keep reading about the normal or the norm.
Are you saying you never met him?
No, I'm not saying I'm not like literally reading
No,
about
but you
him.
kicked John out of his.
So
John's the first to go.
But they in a lot of these spiritual books they talk about the norm.
Not kick anybody out of
Lies. To
Okay,
the
so
Q,
I
you
have
will.
your word that you will not kick anyone out, right?
My 100% word.
Loves trolling.
My 100% word.
Why would he throw you out, Sunan? What have you done?
Oh, not just me. John,
Have
everybody.
you been a naughty boy?
Moving anyone out. He just said, he gave me his word.
Yeah, he will.
I'm not kicking anybody out. I don't have to. I can argue you until you just give up and leave. I do it all the time.
Two-time Pulitzer Prize nominee.
True. Thank you for the
Is that
publicity.
facts? Norm, is that facts?
Oh,
Yes.
100% that.
Okay, so.
He'll tell you it is.
Why? Well, you know how,
And he'll tell me to tell you to tell you it's true.
You know, someone's a vegetarian, a vegan.
Yeah. Because they tell you every 5 minutes.
They tell you every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That sounds like that with the. Hey, look,
Yeah,
if you win if I won a Pulitzer Prize or whatever, 2 of them, I'd be
No, a
left
nominee.
to right.
Never won as a nominee.
Even if I was nominated, you know all the writers that are out there. That's incredible. Don't sell it short.
Nominated Vice President?
Yeah, well, these are people who have never achieved anything, and so they look with envy and anger.
I won my first grade spelling bee.
There you go.
That is very good.
It's been downhill ever since, right?
Ever since.
But that's all cat, dog.
Yeah, I mean, I did win it. I wasn't just nominated though.
And now look what happened to you. You're a has-been. By second grade, you were a has-been.
Yeah, that's true.
Second grade spelling bee is twice as hard as the first grade.
Yeah, it's a good one. Don't believe words.
Has anyone ever heard this one before? Dylan, so I just had the best optometry quiz.
What most people don't realize is
I had one for 30 years. I was 17 when I got my eyes checked last. 47 now, right? And my optometrist is a hot-ass Jewish woman. Let me just say, she's all stare at my ear. I'm all gladly, okay. You know, she's checking my eyes.
Yeah, you lost me someplace in there. What happened?
Fellas, surely you've heard best is best. Anything else? I don't take orders from you.
I wanted to ask for her card. I wanted to recommend her to other people.
Exactly what I want. Give me my son!
Her name is Yeselina, or Yeselina. I remember it, but I can't say it. She's Jewish. Yeah, I just moved from Jersey to California. Yeah, I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what conversation?
All this will take over. You're
Am I?
forgetting about this
No, I'm
place
not, but she
entirely.
is.
Forget about
I know
it.
you're
She's
not.
really gorgeous. Yeah.
So are you gonna go out?
How many demon souls you can
hey, the song's up. It's like have to.
I'd recommend her to y'all.
I was about to say, I'll tell Video Girl on you. Yeah, where? What's Video Girl?
Where's she been? Speaking of. She's in the real world, or is she like a white girl, like an anime girl? The optometrist girl.
Video Girl.
No. Oh, like here? Yeah, there's a person on here named Video Girl.
Oh, wait, that's not your girlfriend?
No.
Yeah, I'm listening to that video. That's what I was saying.
I can't talk my girlfriend into getting on his I've tried.
Just say, I'll buy you X if you come on. Brian, if you can't get them, Brian,
Isn't that cost like $400 million to buy them?
Buy that.
yeah, X like a friend. Yeah, I say to my wife, go get a
Increase your monthly income.
So are your eyes good? You good for another 30 years?
I had 2015 vision when I was 17, and I'm still at 2020 at 47. Said my eyes are perfect. I just need readers, like really basic readers. So she ordered me some custom pair. I got to try some different shades on. I'm all set. So
I feel like my eyesight changes like
Wait, what?
in months, like depending on like what kind of monitor I'm sitting in front, whether I'm even like have been using one.
What's the
I
doctor's
don't
last
have my
name?
powers with me right now. But I'm sure everything will turn out just
I
fine.
wanted her card. I asked her for a card, but she just moved here, so she didn't have any cards.
Don't
What's
take
your last name?
that tone with me. I know that I'm not
know how to
ready to take
get her
it
last
away.
name. I read on signature. Well, you know, doctor, she signs the prescription, but you can't read it. I should go take a picture of this. You will not be able to read it.
Call back to the optometry place and say, you know, I wanted
My
to get the
forehead is
doctor's
wet,
last
my
name
throat
because
is dry, and the floor is starting to
I
spin.
want to recommend you.
Lucifer,
Yeah,
this
Yeah,
is
I'm
starting
going to get
name
my
of the doctor I met yet.
Doesn't the name of the I mean, if you go to the clinic's website, does
Yeah,
it have
exactly.
a list of all the doctors?
I think she might have been the assistant. I'm definitely going to get my eyes checked again, possibly. I mean, I might just do that to get the information.
Just turn it into an episode of Seinfeld.
The hottest optometry appointment ever had. It was amazing.
Wow.
Hey,
Yeah,
there's
nothing
a Nazi.
came out of it.
Sailor's here.
Come on up.
There's no need for violence.
She has beautiful, like brown tiger eyes, like tiger's eye looking eyes. Oh my god.
But like
Yeah.
Asian looking or something?
No, just like almost like
You need to put like a wet cloth on your pen. Calm down.
I should have just asked if I could have taken a picture, and finally saved it.
Man, you are on fire.
No, I had to tell you. I mean, when the last time you ever said I just had the hottest optometry appointment? I mean, this is one of those things where I'm like,
I got a male
definitely
optometrist, so I better not be saying that.
I think optometrist optimist. For some reason that is.
I tend to go to ophthalmologists. I go to real doctors.
I like optimist. Fine.
I'm gonna have to go get an audiology appointment and get my ears checked. And
Oh, you think they're going to be just as hot?
I don't think so.
I know somebody who dated an audiologist. I think audiology attacks hot people.
Yes, my audiologist, the woman who fitted me, really hot.
See?
And then she moved to Boston. I was really upset. But I think, and then another doctor came. Not as cute, but very nice doctor. Good. At the end of the day, you want a good doctor.
Yeah, I would
Or
have
if they can't be
appreciated
good,
being
at least they
scoped
could
up.
be hot.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not a criteria for medical care.
It doesn't hurt though.
Quiet, come on up.
I don't think Sailor wanted to
Yeah.
come on the same stage with a bunch of Jews. She didn't want to seem like she was being too friendly, you know?
Well, is that
Isn't
another
that weird?
Requit? Come on up.
Oh, guys, you should have heard her on October 6th to October 7th. It was fucking wild.
I have heard it. There's nothing wrong there.
She went from, I love the Jews to fuck the Jews. They should all die. It's like,
No, she didn't.
no, yeah, she did.
Oh, yeah.
I could.
She has a mental issue.
Really?
Yeah. It's a weird blind spot. They say that this sort of hatred of Jews is like a virus, and it is a symptom of societal rot. That's what Douglas Murray says.
I feel like with I know one thing I notice is that when it comes to people who are Muslim, even if they're not that religious, they're very
Anti-Jews.
I would say they're going to stand by fellow Muslims kind of regardless.
Can't you make that about any group of people?
No.
You know, the last
It's
time
just
it happened,
tribalism.
They tend to want to stick up for other Colombians.
Yaakov, it's bad, dude. They could be like full-blown fucking atheists. Allah's a fucking made-up story. It's bullshit. And you're like, fuck Muhammad and fuck Allah. They're like, Allahu Akbar, I'll kill you. And you're like, wait a minute,
I don't.
blood. You're an atheist now?
I don't think so. Muslims are very sizable. I mean, Christians are obviously in number across the globe. I I don't really see them taking the side of any group that's Christian that's done wrong.
Elephants
It's
on
not
my
really
pants. What's more
thing with
chill
us.
than a 10-ton mammal with horns? Also,
You mean like the
I'm
Crusades?
blasting the chillest music I know.
Well, I mean, that hasn't happened.
Saving the
I'm talking
environment
about
is
like within
chill,
the last
and that's why
several
I don't
centuries.
shower. Now
But I mean,
everyone
obviously,
around me can
the
smell how
Christian,
chill I am.
frowned upon. I mean, some people
I
celebrate it.
am
to be
so
fair.
freaking chill. I mean, just look at these elephants
So
on my
demonic
pants.
Portugal,
What's
that
more
was bad.
chill than a
Now you
10-ton
find all these Moranos, which are Jews, that were forced to convert to Catholicism. They're all over here.
The thing next to you.
I thought they were mostly in Spain.
Sorry, I'm allergic to fake fruit.
Well, we don't call them Muranos, we call them crypto Jews.
How do I look?
But I haven't seen them all over Europe.
Before the bibbidi bobbidi boo.
It's starting to come out. Check Ancestry.com. It's starting to
Don't like it with the generous shoes.
It's interesting.
Well, give me an example. I'm not sure what you mean by check Ancestry.com. I can check other people's ancestry. But give me an example of where they found a lot of crypto.
Well, I mean, you know, even on here, there's a Jewish genealogy project, and they've
Yes, I
identified.
know. We've been to it, but nobody says that people are crypto Jews.
I just regurgitated what I.
He said he's just regurgitating. He's just parroting.
Oh, no, my
He's hurt. But where did you hear that?
I suspect that, I mean, there are people in my family, you know, that were hidden. But now that we have genetic testing, we can find the lines. They're either there or they're not.
Where did you find them?
A lot of places, man. And some places
So
where people.
let's talk about one. Let's talk about one place.
Spain.
Where's one place?
Yeah, Spain is like it's not uncommon for people in places like Cuba who don't have any knowledge of there being any Jews in their ancestry to have, you know, a small percentage of Jewish ancestry. I mean, it's as a result of the I guess you would say crypto Jews in Spain.
Well, a small percentage is not a crypto Jew. A crypto Jew is an actual Jew.
No.
Not
I'm saying they have a small percentage, like a Cuban might, because there was a crypto Jew in their family tree. Get what I'm saying?
Maybe
In other words, they had an ancestor that was.
Well, you can't tell.
Or
if
an
your
actual
ancestor
Jew.
was a You can't tell if your ancestor was a crypto Jew.
Well, yes and no, but it's like, but the one thing that a lot of people will like say is like, wow, I never heard of any Jewish like great grandparents, anything like that. Like we had no idea, and so it could be that because it was further back in their lineage, or too far back for it to like orally have been passed down to them. But it's just like it kind of broadsides a lot of these people because as far as they were aware, they didn't have any Jewish relatives.
It's such a pleasant surprise when you find out you're Jewish.
Yeah, I know somebody like that.
Wait, who found out they were Jewish?
No, I'm saying
My great grandmother.
there are people in.
Grandmother was Jewish?
But yeah,
No.
my great grandmother on my
Oh,
mom's
that makes
side.
you Jewish.
No, what I say.
Not
No,
to the rest of the Jews on the side.
Wait, great grandmother on the mother's side?
Yeah, mom's side.
Oh, you're definitely Jewish.
Yeah, but she became a hardcore atheist.
we were talking about how like there's like
I don't
people
believe
who,
in. I don't believe in atheists, by the way. I don't think they exist.
That's good.
Thank you.
So, I mean, according to the census, you know, the number of Jews, like identifiable Jews, is quite small. I want to say 15 million.
Actually,
Yeah,
Yaakov,
It's 16 million.
So Yaakov, when we started looking into it, both of my grandmothers, my dad's mom, and my mom's mom.
It's 0.02% or 0.002 of the world population of 8 billion. If you multiply 8 billion by 0.002, you get approximately 16 people.
Yeah, but what percentage of the news? What percentage of the news do we take up? Like 8%? Like we're Jews in Israel.
You know, no Jews, no news. So the moment we do anything, it gets like blown out of proportion.
People are fascinated by it.
Like the one that's really disproportionate in a good way is Nobel prizes in the hard sciences. So if we're
0.02% of the world population. We've won 20% of the Nobel Peace Prize. So if you divide 0.20 by 0.002,
Nobel Prizes, not
you get Nobel Prizes. I thought I said that. In hard sciences. In hard sciences.
He did the first time, but then he...
Okay, sorry if I said peace. Okay, Nobel Prizes in hard sciences, 0.2 divided by 0.002, we get 100. So it means we're 100 times more likely than the average person, or the average group of people to win a Nobel.
Also Mensa members, Mensa members. Overrepresentation.
So yeah, there's a lot of overrepresentation.
Yeah, but Jakob, that's because we invented the test, it works in our favor.
I don't think, this wasn't something, I think, when it comes to stereotype accuracy, there's been several studies on this. It's shown to be pretty accurate, but I would just say Jews have always kind of had a reputation for being, like, brainy, I guess you can say.
Highest median IQ ethnic group on Earth.
Well, we studied
17.
Yeah, because we were told that we could only do two things. We could lend money and we could study. We couldn't own property. We couldn't own land. We couldn't own this. We couldn't own that.
Well, if you look at the people who have read and write, read and wrote.
Yes, thank you.
Throughout the past couple thousand years, it's like East Asians, the Jews, some of the Indians, yeah.
Well, we're our most knowledgeable and most wealthy members are encouraged to have more children, not less, unlike a lot of other cultures. So that could also contribute to,
there's a lot of hypotheses, and it's like, so one thing that was mentioned, so like you have people, at least for a couple thousand years in Europe, growing in proximity, or living in proximity with white Christians. Why is it that there's like this difference? And people have theorized that like the brightest and most intelligent. Hold on.
To other Christians.
Okay, hold on. The brightest and most intelligent Christian men would often end up working for the church, and they didn't have kids. And then I guess at the same time that was going on, like I guess with the arranged marriages that Jews would have, it was often I guess you could say they were competitively matched together, and so and then of course they kept a lot of the Christian population illiterate, which the Jews were the opposite. They had to be able to read the Torah or whatever.
Wait, Black America was Margaret Sanger a Jew? I didn't know that. Damn.
I think I've heard conflicting reports on that.
Stupid people can have smart kids too. It's not necessarily, especially if you pick. But my hypothesis is that there are a lot more Jewish people that are hidden by society because they were driven underground by all of the things that happened to us over the centuries.
Who runs the world? The Jews. Who runs the world? The Jews. Oh, sorry.
Say a lot of Italians have curly hair and big noses.
Yeah, I have a big nose.
You never heard anybody on this app complaining about the Northern Sudanese, did you? Or, even the Southern Sudanese, or, what about them? What about anybody? All communication is spam, you fucking moron. All communication is hypnosis and projection, moron. You waste your fucking time every time you start talking about the J word. That's why it's pathetic. It's a waste of your fucking time.
When it comes to Africa, it's an unfortunate reality, but people perceive it as being a violent, barbaric continent, and we're used to people doing horrendous shit there, and so when that stuff happens, it's not like, oh my god, and also they have like zero influence over anybody, like at all. So people just don't talk about them.
Pepe, who would you rather have running the world? The Jews or the blacks?
I'm not answering that. I mean,
I know. It's only two options, Pepe.
I mean, who's in the room?
Italians, for sure.
Well, I mean, I'll just say this: you haven't seen
cook.
You haven't seen blacks
The German
run.
can make the cause.
You haven't seen blacks run any society really at a level I would ever wish my worst enemy to live in. The answer is obvious. No, I'm talking about
half white.
He said blacks. In other words, all leadership is
Not
black.
half white.
Yeah, we're not talking about one president and a bunch of, other.
Well, everybody is mixed. That's not really an objection.
Can you name one place that's run by all black people? That is a place you would personally want to live.
Wakanda. I don't really know that much about it.
You have the Caribbean islands. You have Africa. I mean, would you ever want to live in any of those places? I mean, nobody would.
No, we're not. No. We're not talking about in the white neighborhoods. We're talking about like in just general Jamaica.
Yeah, I'll live with the Marleys. I mean, back in the day, maybe.
That's half Jews.
I'm not gonna lie. I would rather live in Palestine than fucking Haiti any day of the fucking week. There's just
Pepe, you would. I was just there.
Compared to Haiti.
You don't want to be there.
Yeah, Haiti, you're gonna die of cholera. I'll put up with it with maybe being subjugated by Muslims or whatever in Palestine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, especially those fucking dirty ass Moroccans. Oh, hey, Frank.
What did you just say? Dirty ass what?
Moroccans. Frank's half
Hey,
Moroccan.
my wife's Moroccan. Be careful.
Yeah, but he's black Moroccan. Frank is.
Frank is?
I'm trying to wake Frank up. His mom's French. Or no, I'm sorry. Hold on, Frank. Your mom is German. Your dad is a black Moroccan.
Hey, next.
He's a Berber.
How you guys doing?
Berbers are white, practically.
Yeah, his is a Berber black. That's what he claims.
Oh my God! All you have to say is Moroccan.
Berbers are not white.
I love Moroccan food.
No, I said Berbers are white, practically. The reason I said that is they're known for being like I guess phenotypically. The African continent.
It's still darker than.
I never heard somebody make as many eugenic type statements as you, Pepe. Everything is genetics. Everything is genetics with you people. It's so ridiculous.
Well, you have to think about it. That Berbers, it's my understanding they're an ancient population, so they're not nearly as mixed with the Arabs.
Who the fuck is not an ancient population?
Frank. George Michaels. Frank said he would suck George Michael's dick.
No, I'm serious. You can look this up.
It's still dead dick. That's crazy.
Yeah, he said he would. He said he would suck George Michael's dick.
Like the Berbers, the Sardinians, and even the what do you call it, Basque, are even somewhat related to the Berbers. They were from a population that was there for. All three of those are old populations that haven't mixed much in the last couple thousand years.
Yeah, Pepe knows his history. He traces it all the way from Mexico back.
I'm stuck on George Michael. Freedom.
So is Frank.
Freedom. You got it. Whatever. Yeah. Come on.
Frank says,
George Michael and Prince are the ones I wish I could have seen in concert. Prince was a Jehovah's Witness. Did anyone know that? Prince? Jehovah's Witness?
Pepe, let me ask you a question. Can you define the word philosophy?
Spell axe.
Pepe, I want to ask you a question. Can you define the word philosophy for us in just one sentence? Thank you, Dr. Pepe.
I'm probably not going to get it right, so.
You're not even going to try? You don't even know? You don't even think you know what philosophy might mean? I mean, you seem to know so much about everything else. I'm surprised you can't tell us what the word philosophy means.
Okay, but in an autistic way, I'll fixate on certain things, but I'm not there's a difference between like being knowledgeable about many areas, or just like having an interest primarily in a few, which is I think
Okay, so
most
this is
people.
I don't know. This is I don't know.
It's what I said. That was my answer.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you say that. So fine.
Like affairs team that could be collapsed.
I mean, it's basically the wonder of God.
I do want to guess. Like, I'm guessing it has to do with the.
He just Googled it. Look at.
No, I didn't Google it, but
Google has put all of the
He's trying to figure out how to say it so it doesn't sound like he Googled it.
Show where you could phone
Let
a friend
me
with
chat
your
GPT grok that. Yeah.
Yeah, like that whole phone a friend thing has gone completely out the window because you phone a friend and they'll just Google it while they're on the 30 seconds or whatever they had.
You waited way too long to find it. Give it
that. The only time it's just like when it comes to the only time it really get brought up is when I would be listening in on particularly religious conversations. But so I learned a lot of words and that kind of stuff then.
Pepe, it's the wonder and love of God. I mean, philosophy deals with God. It doesn't deal with atheism.
Well, not
and so,
just God.
Oh, really?
Morality. It has to do with.
It all comes from God, which is morality, ethics, virtue, courage, all these positive attributes, but it really deals with wonder or amazement over what we're living in, which is clown world. We live in clown world.
Have you been reading the Taoism again?
Does that have to do with truth and like how to? I guess it like there's like different frameworks for how you would try to. I can't put it into words.
It deals with God. Almost all philosophy deals with God. I mean, even the ethics, morals, and virtues come from God. I mean, this is why I say, I mean, maybe you're fascinated with Jews because you're actually fascinated with God, but you're just like an agnostic atheist. I mean, I never hear you actually talking about about Jesus or God or anything religious.
I'm not that fascinated with Jews.
Are you serious?
A real focus of mine. No.
Agnostic atheist is the new word of the day.
But I became friends with a bunch of.
The only two things Pepe talks about on Clubhouse is Jews and blacks.
Oh, shut up! I don't.
Jews and what? Wait, Jews and what?
Jews and blacks.
No. I mean,
Pepe, just from a data collection standpoint, just sort of thinking back, there's something to be said for that. Yeah. Like, how would you, if you said no, I don't, I tend to talk about, give me 4 things you tend to talk about.
Oh, on here
it was geopolitics.
Yeah. On here it was primarily, so like this is where the BLM stuff was still going pretty strong, and then it was definitely like I made rooms that were definitely critical of black people and would debate them, but the Jew thing I never really got into it because I've watched the debates happen so many times, like even years before I came on here, and like none of their arguments really stood up to scrutiny, and I just didn't care. The only reason I know most of the Jews on this app I know, including, even though he's not a Jewish, I think his mom or dad is, Doge or Edward.
Oh, your dad's Jewish?
John, you talking about John Kitover?
Yeah.
They're next to you. Why don't you just use
Yeah, my dad's side of the family's Jewish, and my mother is gorgeous.
And so, the person that introduced me.
Genetically a Jew. But...
Okay. The person who introduced me.
Halachically, that's the important part.
Yeah, that's why I said genetically.
But the person that introduced me to the Jewish people, including John Kitover, was Epaminondas, and so he was like a far right Jew. So that's actually how I met almost all of you.
Wait, John's far right?
Harry says he's actually a Belgian Illinois.
No, Epaminondas, when he was on here.
There's no such thing as far right. There's only clown world, and when you compare yourself to clown world, you are far right. But clown world is so fucked up and so stupid. Everybody's essentially far right. We live in clown world.
Yeah, he's a pot-smoking fucking hippie that does yoga. What the fuck did he become far right? He takes shrooms.
Welcome back.
Doesn't sound all too right to me.
And he flies an LGBT flag. John.
You know what's funny is John used to sit go in my rooms and he would say, "You're a righteous Gentile," because I was always mean to the people that
Those fucking words have never left my lips. You're a righteous Gentile. Give me a fucking break. I have never said that about you. What the fuck? You let me come in your room and warm up your room comedically, then you'd kick me to the fucking goo once Mon came in, and you would use my profile to build up your room because it had over 1,000 or thousands of followers. You would use my profile status to launch your room. So when I never once called you righteous. You are not righteous. You're a fucking schmuck. And I wish you would just read a fucking book and go to the gym and delete your fucking profile.
John Kitover? You're the real John Kitover? Because all I know is over the years on Clubhouse, I would see John Kitover, that's you, in a room, playing random shit in a room as a female. What the fuck? Am I confused? Is this the same John?
Female.
Yeah, is this the same John? John, didn't you have a room where you were like always playing some random stuff, like on the air, in a room by yourself, and you were posing as a hot female?
Yeah.
Was that you? That's him? Oh shit. John, where have you been? You're actually talking now. I didn't know you were actually a real human. I thought you were an AI robot. I'm just saying. John, am I wrong? Am I getting you confused, everyone? John, am I getting you confused with someone else?
Meta built him as an AI robot that looks like a human.
He's not even talking now. Okay, now I'm really confused.
Wait, did he actually pose?
But I do have a serious question. John, are you point taken?
Point Taken? Oh yeah, everyone thought Point Taken was Red Bottom Rich.
No, my money's on John. Because the type of humor, which is very, very good.
Cappuccino. The Cappuccino one. Point Taken. Yeah.
Sorry, I was in the kitchen. What was your question, Yakov?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
John, are you point taken in Amir's room?
No, I don't have. No, that's not me.
No? Honestly?
Yeah, honest to God, I'm not going to sit here and waste my time making up lies about fake profiles I have. I mean, I think most people... I haven't created a new profile in 30 days.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's been a hot minute. But yeah, I
accounts, John, when you were being like some supermodel...
I had some... Yeah, I had some super hot chick and I was pretending I was trans for a hot minute.
Okay. That's hilarious, bro. I'm surprised you're talking.
I mean, I was talking with like a female voice and everybody's like, that's a guy talking. That's a guy.
That's why I thought you were point taken.
Oh, no. Yeah. I don't even know who that is.
Okay. You don't know who that is? You don't remember Cappuccino, the one who sounds like Red Bottom Rich? Who said, like, okay, I'm going to try to do my best impression. So, John, let me tell you about cryptocurrency, okay? You need to understand that there's a lot of things going on in the Wall Street realm. Let me tell you that I'm going to explain to you how this works.
Sean is Cappuccino now.
Yeah, who is Cappuccino? I actually want to know.
Point Taken is now was Cappuccino now. Point Taken. Yeah.
Who is Cappuccino?
Cappuccino is
obviously Sean.
Point Taken.
Point
Taken. No, I've been on this thing for I've been on this app for over 4 years.
That was a pretty good impression, Sean.
Characters. I tried. Thank you. Appreciate that. I used to do that all the time. I used to do impressions of that one because everyone said it sounded like Red Bottom Rich. Because I used to run the red rooms with Red Bottom.
All right, I'll change the subject, or Sean's just gonna keep going.
What is the name of that? Who's the what?
So not what?
I said you got to change the subject. He's like a broken record, and just keep going.
Okay.
So, Sean, who was it that would do the old lady, and it would fool everybody?
That was, Red Bottom Rich did that. He did a lot of voices, so it might be Red Bottom. There's a few
You're talking about the old lady with the New York accent.
Yeah, Aunt Judy. Yeah, Aunt Judy. She
thought that was an old lady. Oh my God.
At first I did, yeah. It was.
You would have got fucking crying games.
He would do prank calls with different voices in there. I don't know if you ever remember.
You can't do prank calls anymore with their caller ID and everything. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I guess you can do stars or whatever. You can turn it off. Man, in the 60s and 70s, we used to do all sorts of funny because they didn't have the.
We had a guy from the Jerky Boys on here. Yakov, you remember? I can't think of his name right now, but we had one of the Jerky Boy guys that used to be on here all the time.
Wow. He did lots of prank phone calls?
Yeah, that was what they were known for. They were like kind of the OGs of prank phone calls. John Kitover should know this, right, John?
You guys should let Frank talk. Frank, say something.
Frank hasn't.
What's up, Frank?
All he does is eat emojis today.
No, you've never heard Frank talk?
You got
He's usually drunk. He's usually drunk.
Mr. Frank, how are you doing?
Say something, Frank. Hello, Frank. How are you?
Frank.
Comment ça va, Frank?
Frank, ça va?
How are you doing?
Ça va?
How are you doing?
Frank, ça va?
Oh, shalom. Sorry, how? Hi.
Frank,
To
ça
say
va?
my beat.
Frank, what do you think about George Michaels?
He's French?
No, hey.
No, he's not.
Rich, you know.
He is French.
He is?
In the bathroom, he is. He might be French in the bathroom.
Okay, go ahead, Frank.
Hi, Pepe.
He's British.
Rich knows that I am a huge fan of George Michael.
Frank, you live in born in London.
Frank, do you live in France?
Yes.
Oh,
Come on, you can't tell that.
Pipi,
French people
where do you
Frank
like?
with the C.
Well, no, but like when I first
Frank,
met
where
him,
do you live in France?
he could speak French. I mean, he was speaking French.
Sorry. But you're from Paris?
Go ahead, Pepe.
Paris,
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Harry.
Pepe, that's your chance to speak French. Go
Good
ahead.
German papers. Sorry. You
Je
are
ne
good
comprends pas français très bon.
Shepherd, sorry.
Say it again, Pepe.
Je ne comprends pas français très bon.
Okay, Biffy, we didn't ask you to speak French.
No, these assholes told me to. And I that's why I said the right phrase.
Frank, cuss him out in French.
He's like, ooh, that French is so horrible.
First of all.
Yo, give him the Pepe Le
Frank,
Pew.
Frank, tell Pepe his French is terrible in French. Frank, say in French, tell Pepe his French is terrible.
If you will.
Tell him connard, Frank. Connard.
Harry Cooper. Gary, c'est la vie. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Sinon, oui, mais alors Harry est très impoli parce qu'il n'a pas été éduqué dans une galerie, dans une chose qui n'est.
Frank has a stutter.
Comment?
All the French do.
Je n'ai pas compris. Excusez-moi, parce que pourriez-vous parler français, s'il vous plaît?
There you go, Pepe. You've been ousted. Now you're Mexican.
Oh, okay. He's a Mexican. Harry.
Yeah, he claims to be French, but he's Mexican.
Oui.
I'm on the Mexican radio. Remember that 80s song?
So what's the deal with this Trump Golden Dome? It's like a $25 billion space missile defense program. Wow. So exciting. I mean, geez, I feel so much more protected now. Wow. I mean, can't the government just give me a fucking revolver or an M16A4 and some ammunition? I mean, why the fuck do they think I need to be protected from intercontinental ballistic missile systems?
Okay. I understood everything.
Yes. Did you say a gorgeous mom is Mexican? You said those. That's what it sounded like. Oh, gorgeous mom is Mexican.
Who's gonna polish the Golden Dome? That's what I want to know. Is it a jobs program?
Hey, if you nickname it George, if you call it George Michaels, Frank will.
So George Michael is my idol.
Maybe we could get Beyonce.
Because they have enough harder time with their head gaskets anyway, because it's a shoddy design. So you start putting.
Slap the engine. Your eye.
I don't have any idols.
I used to have idols, but then they all let me down. So now I don't have idols anymore.
I guess the closest one I had when I was a kid was
what's his name? Fucking Will Smith, and then he turned out to be a piece of shit. When I was a kid, I always want to be like Will Smith.
I thought you were gonna say
He's always like the cool guy.
in the Wonder Years.
No, he turned out to be a fucking. He turned out to be a piece of.
No. Rich. I was asking you.
It's a little bitch. So.
Hey, can you tap dance a little bit for me?
That's right. That's right. Just a little bit.
I like some soft shoe, man. Little Gregory Hines.
So, was it in London at the time when she won? Or are you going to let this one go and just take it now?
No, Chipotle, I don't think Chipotle was around.
I don't even think it's in the UK, to be honest. I don't think it's ever been in the UK. If it is...
She doesn't live in the UK.
Amazing. She won Wimbledon. Where's Wimbledon? Is it in Russia? Okay, you don't even know what you don't know. Where was she training prior to Wimbledon?
I know exactly where that is, but it's a doctor.
It's a dog's race.
Hi, it's a wireless vacuum.
Oh, I'm high. It's a dog's race. No one cares. No one cares. That's amazing. And she trained back then. Yes. And you're certain of that? They don't have tennis courts in Russia. They don't have tennis courts in Europe.
She lives in Florida.
I have better hair than both of you.
That's beautiful. Why don't you show us that? PTR.
Oh, look, that is my hair, my PTR.
That's right.
I have beautiful
So are we gonna
hair.
take the L on the fact that this is some fake status bullshit?
Love.
Whatever you want, Tim. Whatever.
No. Amazing. Some other fake status bullshit. It either is or it is not. It doesn't change me. I actually haven't in fact made a statement.
God, your ego is
literally
so
asking
fucking
questions or
insane,
poking holes.
It's so fucking
I think. See, this is if you simply hold a mirror up to people, they can't handle it. Nigger, you've just been looking at yourself. I'm just holding the mirror up to you, asking your own statements back to you, and it falls apart. You're like a fucking.
Oh my god! Pussy out of grain.
See the light. Amazing.
I really do.
Well, if I did, amazing. If I did, I wouldn't. Hey, nigger, you're Casanova's going through a dry spell, but also been 7 women in 7 months. Do you remember that one last year? In July, this nigger said, "Oh, I've had 7 women already," and then 5 minutes later, he says, "Yeah, I'm going through a dry spell."
Dry spell for me is like going like 3 months without it.
That's right. That's why you went across the Atlantic for pussy.
Oh, hey, I met a girl I liked at the time.
Oh, wow, really? Okay. Amazing. You see how what you say and what you do don't line up?
Yeah, I guess that means I can't get pussy because I went across the Atlantic.
Well, actually, I unfortunately, she's not here, whatever. Christy would cry to me about being bombarded with your bullshit. It's quite clear that you're not getting that much pussy. That's all. That's all.
That was one girl.
No. Well, and it wasn't 2 years ago.
It doesn't matter when it was.
It doesn't matter. All of a sudden, it doesn't.
I mean, if you're gonna highlight a girl that rejected me and like say that I get rejected every single time I talk to a girl.
Hey, bro, you're the one claiming all these big things. No one asked you to volunteer all this information, whether it's real or not. You keep volunteering.
Well, I mean, I was talking to Christy about a girl I really genuinely loved. So there you go. I don't know what the big deal is.
That's not, bro. I'm not going to start sharing the contents of it. But
you seem like you want. Just go ahead and do it.
Nigger, this was so long ago. First, I'd have to go and look it up again.
I go ahead and do it. You want to waste it?
Amazing. I was letting Christy vent because she needed to get off her chest because she's too polite to tell you to shut the fuck up.
Allah would send him a message and say.
And I was like scrolling through it like Jesus Christ. I'm like not even reading it. I'm just letting her.
Allah didn't do that. He allowed Muhammad to continue to buy and sell slaves, and he didn't say anything about it. So just you can make the inference quite easily that
God didn't really care about him owning slaves in the same way that other people would care about it. That's all.
Tamari.
Yeah, I find that subject fascinating in two cuts. So I'll respond to two issues: Islam and slave, so-called Islamic slave trade. This is a fiction. There was no such thing as an Islamic slave trade. So in recent times, I've been noticing that some people are trying to talk about the sub-Saharan slave trade being so vast it even eclipsed the transatlantic slave trade. Interesting, the transatlantic slave trade, we know how it is. Then I'll talk about Islam and its position on slavery. Why we know that there was a transatlantic slave trade, it's for three reasons, all of them combined. There are documents of actually people exchanging and buying slaves in massive galore number of documents on both sides of the Atlantic, and especially on the so-called western side. Massive documentation of people being bought and sold from Africa to so-called the New World. We also have archaeological remains of actually forts where they're holding pens and stuff like that, and chains and so on, where they were so-called processed in the African side, normally in the coast, and then on the other places where they sometimes used to go. And we have even some of the ships, and even depictions, ancient depictions, hundreds of years old of ships and so on, where they actually show you the structure of the ships that carried the people and so on. From the time, contemporary of the time, look, we could actually date them. And we also have massive testimony, human testimony on both sides of the Atlantic of these people being sold at the coast of Africa. It wasn't like an invasion or conquest of the African continent, which is normally people have this imagery that some Europeans came in and captured the poor primitive Africans, brought them down from the trees and then took them across. No, it wasn't. There was actually Africans, sadly, selling other Africans to Europeans who didn't have the military power to invade and conquer the continent. Because normally the way you capture or enslave people is three ways. You either conquer people and subjugate them all, like the Slavs of Europe, by the Romans and others, or you tend to buy them in mass, or you kidnap them. Now, the Europeans had none of these three opportunities in the Black Africa, so to speak, until the 20th century, with the invention of heavy firepower. They found the Africans very resilient, very resistful to invasion, even with modern weaponry, machine guns, and sometimes air power. How that much of that continent got colonized eventually. It wasn't some primitives. But what did happen is, sadly, slavery was a human problem everywhere, sadly, in the planet. And it had to be dealt with. And I'll tell you later how the Quran deals with it. But in terms of this so-called Muslim slave trade, there was no such thing. So in terms of this sub-Saharan slave trade that some people are trying to invent, there is no mass testimony anywhere across the Saharan desert. There was a mass slavery by Muslims who never managed to conquer, by the way, or liberate so-called Black Africa. There was never an invasion force in there. It actually did what it did exactly as prophesied in the Quran. It ransacked and so-called eliminated the Roman tyranny in the so-called African coastline on the north, the Mediterranean, and dealt with that. But Black Africa was through interaction and trade. So the testimony doesn't exist of this slavery. There's no forts, archaeology that exists of this slavery, and there's no documentation that exists on it. People have been inventing this actively, but we'll deal with that later. When you talk about Zanzibar and so on, that was the Omanians. They had an empire in the eastern coast of Africa, namely around Tanzania, and they British practiced some slavery, and it was a shameful episode. They did not represent the Arabs nor Muslims, sadly, but it did exist. That doesn't represent.
Here's from Google. The transatlantic slave trade involved the forced transportation of millions of Africans across the Sahara Desert from sub-Saharan Africa to North Africa and beyond. This trade, operated by Arab contractors, spanned centuries and significantly impacted the demographics.
Where is the evidence? You don't seem to understand what I'm talking about.
I'll post it for you in the chat. I mean, it's like denying like the evidence. It's like denying the Holocaust.
Yeah. I know exactly. The Holocaust. There's evidence of it, by the way. We can see the camps. We can see the video footage. We can see the testimony. We can see even the records. How vast it was. It was a Holocaust for many people: Jews, Slavs, Gypsies, and many other people. There was a Holocaust for them. Yeah. Now we got the records. We can examine them and look at the numbers. When you're talking about this,
I'm going to post the link to Wikipedia article of the transatlantic.
There was no interruption. I told you
There's no interruption in my house.
just to be clear.
Well, Sam, remember that was supposed to be quick to the point, too.
Yeah, but 2 points. I was about to finish the first point. Then go to the second point very quickly. But the first point, brother, I think it's your name. If you have so-called mass testimony across the Sahara saying that Muslims enslaved the Muslims, quote unquote, or Arabs, if you're not listening, please just afterwards you can respond to it. Just let me put it down.
Wait, have you not made your argument?
You're interrupting me, and I'm going to yield the mic, and you can have a field day. So I'm talking about clarity.
Did he not ask for
No.
evidence?
I have not finished. Afterwards, you could tell me. So I would expect you to have all three things.
Okay, I don't know why it's taking so long. But
because you're interrupting me. That's why I could have ended already. So when you're talking about this so-called trans-Saharan slave trade, so-called instigated by Muslims or Arabs, both of which are fallacies, you need to present the following three. I'll do this simultaneously. This one exists for the transatlantic slave trade. Mass human testimony that there was a mass enslavement of Muslims. You will never find this. 2, mass documentation, or any kind of documentation, by the way, showing that there was a vast, by the of the period, vast so-called documentation of buying and selling of people across this area. 3, actual archaeology to show the dissemination of people across this area. I come from that area, by the way. The Arabs never managed to conquer or invade, by the way, so-called the sub-Saharan belt. Ever. Didn't happen. It was interaction through trade, and that was how many people became Muslim. But this idea of an Arab so-called conquest force like happened in the Mediterranean and other places, or liberation, never happened in Black Africa. Ever. By the way. To the so-called of many other people. No, I'm not talking about slavery. I will talk later on about Islamic.
Well, what the hell, man? I mean, you're just going to keep making claims and not allow anyone to respond.
About 30 seconds there, you will respond fully. I wanted to respond fully. The idea that Islam supports slavery is the only, by the way, set of teachings that universally abolishes slavery. If you actually look at the scripture. Interesting somebody, and I'm going to end
It's just a claim.
The hadith. Brother, the claim is what you guys are making. I'm actually doing facts.
Yeah, and I can give you evidence.
20 seconds and I will
Maddie, I'm just gonna Moon, you can respond.
Okay, alright. I posted the link to the Wikipedia on the Trans-Saharan slave trade. It quotes Professor Ibrahima Babakake. There were 4 main slavery routes to North Africa, from East to West Africa, from Maghreb to the Sudan, from Tripolitania to Central Sudan, and from Egypt to the Middle East. Caravan trails set up in the 9th century went past the oasis of the Sahara. Since Roman times, long convoys transported slaves. Okay? If you also look at there's a map. There's actually from the early trans-Saharan slave trade, which starts in 3rd millennium BC, and it continues all the way until, that was a super long article, the late trans-Saharan slave trade, which continued into the 17th century. So that's 20 centuries of slavery from Africa to the Middle East, like by Arabs, by Muslims.
Quick response. Just by the way, all of this is because you're citing one individual.
1 million slaves are estimated to have been sent to the Sahara in the 19th century.
Well, FYI, in a Wikipedia article, the references are down below, so I can't say it's just one person saying. It's like a synopsis of all of those references. So if you're going to argue against all the references, you have to go read them and say, they're false.
I've actually already read it, and you already read it yourself. Some guy was employed.
So your claim is this article is completely fabricated?
Brother, yes, absolutely. Let me tell you
why.
Let me tell you why. Give you a number of reasons. You didn't actually pay attention to what I was saying. Some of us actually are a bit studious, a bit astute. I told you, when you're talking about such like this, you don't say Professor X. For you, that sounds excellent, because probably you're not academic. Some guy who wrote an article in Wikipedia saying that there was a massive slavery going from 200 BC all the way for almost 1,000 plus years by Arabs or Muslims is a joke. First and foremost, the Arabs, prior to Islam, never had the military strength to conquer anything other than the local tribes. They were militarily inept militarily. So the slaves that they had were other local tribes that they ransacked. They could not deal with any power around them. from the Ethiopians, the Libyans, the Egyptians, to the Persians, to the anyone around them, to the Yemenis. They would eclipse them, they would destroy them. Military rule, they had no opportunity.
Okay, you need to take a break now.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. I'm going to respond to that too. So very quickly. So military power, they lacked it. Two, the financial power, they lacked it. The way you normally acquire slaves, told you 3 ways, very specifically. You subjugate the people in war. The Arabs did not have that military might. You purchase people through financial strength. Neither they had this. They were destitute people. This idea that Arabs were going around enslaving people is a fiction. For all the reasons I mentioned now.
We haven't really mentioned any reasons. Like the Arab Muslim slave trade, also known as the Trans-Saharan or Eastern slave trade, recognized the longest in history, spanning over 1,300 years. It forcibly removed millions of Africans from their homeland, subjecting them to brutal conditions while they labored in foreign lands.
Nonsense. I come from that area.
All right. Well, I just posted the article.
The article, Wikipedia article, easily can be written by any Zionist.
No, I posted another article. From fairplanet.org, which is like an organization that like investigates like human rights abuses in history.
I agree, all of that by Israel and the US and so on.
It's called Forgotten Slavery: The Arab Muslim Slave Trade.
All abuses of human rights. They don't tell you in the article that the Europeans genocided 3 continents, do they? 3 continents and they genocided and enslaved. But let's continue. And
I mean, why would you say that they didn't have the military might? Like the Arabs in that century were like, yeah, they invaded North Africa. They still control parts of North Africa. They invaded parts of Europe. I mean, what are you talking about?
There's a war that happened after Islam. The Islam had very specific codes of conduct, which I'll come back to in a moment. But let's go deal with this transatlantic trans-Saharan slave trade. 3 points I ask you. And tell me whether this professor or the article presents any of the following 3. Because I expect all 3 if this was a mass so-called slavery.
Here in a green garden. يفرض بيان تلبيس شهيمية ابن تيمية 7-90. To be honest with you, this shit is hilarious. My God is a full giga Chad and yours isn't.
So is what was Allah like, trying to give like a prophecy to Muhammad that there will be the Jackson 5s in the future? Maybe that's why he came. I don't know. Or maybe Rick James or something.
Maybe Ibn Taymiyyah was worshipping Mr. Clean. I don't fucking know.
Or maybe it was a Hasidic Jew, walking around with good earrings. This is funny stuff. This is like Ibn Taymiyyah. This is Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, one of the greatest scholars that ever lived. How do you expect me not to laugh about this?
You know what's funny, Felix? You know what's funny? I forgot more about Islam than most people because I don't remember none of this hadith stuff. You can just, what you need to know is how the 7 references work. You just make a hadith with a certain source, work it up from there, and you can see this shit is true. I don't even have to waste my time with this shit.
All around the
If you or a loved one were sexually
All
around the Russell.
Pussy is the best place on earth.
He's an ally.
All around the Russell.
Whereupon Allah's apostle said, "Suckle him." She said, How can I suckle him as he's a grown man? Allah's messenger smiled and said, I already know that he's a grown man. That's it. That's the whole story.
Muhammad, like seriously, Muhammad should know that milk or not, putting boobs in someone's mouth will get them hard. He knows.
Habibi, you're such a bigot. Why can't you just learn to love the Muslim and love the Islamist and the Mohammedan? What's wrong with you, brother?
I live with them. I live in Egypt. I live with this.
Then just love them. Just love them. Just love them. Love.
I mean, if you mean by love that I get to suplex jihadists to death, then sure, I'll love them.
So, I'm sure you already know about the homeless thing that has been going around recently about the hadith, where Muhammad had a journey in the night with one of his companions, and he got ridden on by a bunch of Pakistanis supposedly, or a jinn. Could be either. But regardless, it doesn't look pretty good. That he got. So that's another funny one that nobody wants to talk about. And honest to God, like, what? My question is, the reason why I'm also in the David Wood camp in the sense that he also believes in the criteria of embarrassment, where why would Muslims make this stuff up about their prophet and still believe in him? If that which tells me one thing, that they're trying to show all the good stuff that he did and all the bad stuff. They're trying to do as accurately as they can to preserve his traditions. So that's the only thing that comes into my mind when I'm thinking about this, because there are so many embarrassing stuff that we can go through, but also there are so many good stuff that he did. So I have to accept these as authentic because they're trying their best to actually preserve everything about him, right? Do you think that my logic is flawed in this one by any chance?
No, your logic isn't flawed. What's flawed is the categorizing system of the whole Senate bullshit, because it's a gigantic game of telephone that have been done for a couple hundred years ever since Muhammad died. It culminated in the not the Ottoman, what's that called? In the Abbasid era, the Abbasid Empire era, where they wanted political sways and some certain social sway. So you've got a collection of stories that doesn't make sense from contradictory stuff, as you said, good and bad. And believe it or not, all the hadith that are either authentic or good, it doesn't matter if they are. Because if you look at the whole Senate thing, it's a big game of telephone. That's it. This person said this person said that. For me, as an atheist Catholic piece of shit who unfortunately uses their brain, it could make sense if this stuff was chronicled alongside the Quran. You know what I mean, Phoenix? If it was written and chronicled in the same time of Muhammad, because I know that the Quran was chronicled on bones, animal skins, and papyrus, but then Uthman ibn Affan, may Allah piss in his fucking coffee in hell, decided to burn all of that and read and rewrite the Quran that we read today. So it doesn't make sense. Your entire system's fucking flawed. Also, I love David Wood for bashing Islam, but fuck him and apostate prophet. I don't like them both. They're fucking assholes. Hello, still with me?
Yeah, sorry, I was just texting, my bad. So here's another hadith that I was actually looking into. See, this is another one that I'd say that I can't stop laughing because I don't know what else to think about. Like, oh yes, if you think that I'm going to be judging Muslims because of they don't know their own stuff, no. But people do. Like, I've met people who actually know these hadiths and they believe in these hadiths. Like, they actually truly believe in them.
I won't judge them though, Phoenix. I'll be the asshole of the room for you.
So here's Jam' at-Tirmidhi. Jam'
so just Jammer, tell me the 2978. I just put it on the side chat. The Jews would say whoever goes into his wife's vagina from behind her, i.e. doggy style, then his children will be cross-eyed, i.e. retarded. So Allah revealed, your wives are a tilt for you, so go to your tilt when or how you will. This is in regards to Surah 2, verse 223. So there is a verse that has been brought to Muhammad from the Lawh al-Mahfuz, the eternal tablet, to deal with a problem, supposedly, that the Jews believe that if you doggy style your wife, that you come out retarded. And so he brought this verse in order to say, no, you can now have any sexual positions. I mean, seriously? In the eternal tablet? Like, this is weird, dude. I don't know what to say. First of all, is there any Jew that believes this? Like, is there a Jew that actually believes that if you go into, like, is there like a I don't know, like a Talmud or thing or something? You know, like, I'm curious. Are there any Jews in that, like, jihadists? Is this something you guys believe? To, like, you know, Moshe, do you believe that, you know, that doggy style would turn out your babies into retarded? Like, I would really like to know, jihadists.
Cross-eyed, that's all I can contribute. I was born cross-eyed, that's all I can contribute to this.
Is there like a Talmudic thing, or is there like I'm curious, like a rabbi somewhere saying this like long time ago? Like, is there anything to validate or substantiate this claim? I'm very genuinely curious. Is there any validation?
I've never heard of anything like this.
Okay, so he's just making stuff up. God, this is funny. Oh my God, this is my favorite. This is one of my favorites. So let me read you this. This is one of my favorites, and I'm sorry, but again, I don't mean to laugh at you guys, but you're kind of not giving me much choice. So here it is.
Next, you're so much nicer than me, and I don't know why. But,
okay, so here's Sahih al-Bukhari 5456, narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, "When one of you eats, let him not wipe his hand until he has licked it, or has had someone else lick it. You do not know in which part the blessing is." Are you serious? Do you want to lick my fingers? Like what do you want me to say about this? I mean, like, other than, okay, I'm genuine. Okay, now I want you to combine this hadith. Now I want you to combine this hadith with this hadith, and you tell me if.
Oh, you're thinking of the one that they wipe his ass with stones, right?
Yes. So you're
Oh
going
my
to a
fucking
restaurant.
God.
So you're going to a restaurant, okay? There's a hadith that says that you have to wipe your ass with odd numbers of stones, okay? So you say, hey guys, I'm going to go to the call of nature. I'm going to wipe my ass with odd numbers of stones, all right? And then I'm going to, all right, guys, what's for dinner? And I start eating the dinner. I say, oh, guys, I got some blessings on my fingers. Does anybody want to lick it up? What do you think that would result in? I'm thinking maybe dysentery, maybe E. coli, some sort of disease, right? I mean, this is how COVID starts, man. Like, fucking hell, man. Like, this is fucking stuff.
We blame the Chinese for eating bats and the Muslims for not wiping their asses properly.
And they're both the same, man. They're both the same.
You know what's funny? That's funny because as someone who lives in a Muslim nation, like an Arabic-speaking one in Africa, and someone who had the misfortune of dealing with English-speaking converts, I can tell you, if they come out after you say that shit and cry bigotry, then they just choose their own retardation at that point. I have no sympathy for people like that. Nobody is born stupid. You choose your own stupidity.
Yeah, that's funny.
The funniest part, Jihad, is Muhammad didn't make any of that shit up. The hadith themselves The two people who made all that stuff up is Uthman ibn Affan, and then after that, in the Abbasi Empire, the Bani Abbas, they started making that hadith shit up. We literally have no original manuscripts of the Quran whatsoever. Even though it was told in the hadith itself that the Quran was written on bones, parchment, and papyri, like I don't know if it was papyrus, some sort of like very expensive paper. However, we don't have.
John and Andrew Landon, Rainbow Clowns. They threw the matzo ball.
So that's the first element. I deal with the war in there. That was also going to turn against you.
What's up, Deepak?
Well, I'm just trying to understand the teaching better, right? Like so, for example, is the Quran also like have does it have any thing to say about like when to use your salad fork? That thing that people do with their soup spoon where they like hold it sideways. That's kind of annoying. Like any I don't know. I used to use maybe I should start.
It says before you eat, you should stand upside down and do 20 bungee jumps on your head before you come and eat. Yeah,
only when you're having dinner with the prophet, or just at any other?
I'll read the whole thing. So it says, "O believers, do not enter the homes of the prophet without permission. And if you're invited for a meal, don't come too early and linger until the meal is ready. But if you're invited, then enter on time. And once you have eaten, then go on your way. Don't stay for casual talk. Such behavior is truly annoying to the prophet. Yes, he's too shy to ask you to leave. But Allah is never shy of the truth. And when you believers ask his wives for something, ask them behind a barrier. This is pure for your hearts and theirs. And it's not right for you to annoy the messenger of Allah. Don't marry his wives after he dies. This would certainly be a major offense in the sight of Allah." So that's the full one.
So now you obviously wanted to talk about these issues, so we'll talk about them in depth. Every single point you mentioned, and we're going to talk about the veracity of it, by the way. Yeah, not just
So he does say don't show up early. He does say don't. It says of the people who are invited over for dinner, don't show up too early. It doesn't just say don't show up too early. It says if you're invited over, don't show up too early. So it's not.
What's the event? Things are funny. We're going to extend our funniness in a moment because I'm actually going to challenge you.
I don't think those two clown midgets. Over spent 10 minutes.
So I'll challenge you in a moment to show me a higher standard of any form than the Quran.
I don't think those two clown midgets have ever spent 10 minutes studying Torah.
Socialism. We're going to have this endless rambling. If you can't control your room, Sam, I'm going to leave. Because actually I came here for a healthy discussion where not necessarily we have to agree on each other. We're going to pick each other's ideas.
They do
we're going to have some
attract.
stragglers coming in, some Gentiles who just want to have a laugh. They could go find somewhere else, or I'll go to another room. But if you want to have a deep conversation, we could probe the veracity of things. I actually think that the Quran, in terms of whatever teachings you find funny, by the way, Deepak, I think that the highest standards ever seen by mankind in justice and in etiquette and so forth, and in every facet.
They do organize and attract beautiful women.
And well, so I could have the laugh
basically
as well.
pimps.
I don't want to just be entertaining you and dismissing you. I want to have a laugh too. So you could choose socialism, Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, any ism, democracy, what have you. We'll compare it to the Quran, and then I could show you the truth prevailing over falsehood. So that's the best way you can appreciate the Quran. It's to draw a contrasting teaching of any form you like. And then we can have a laugh on both sides, not just one-sided.
So I wrote this. I wrote a hypothetical surah of the Quran, just hypothetically, and it said I'm gonna shorten it. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but the summary of it is: don't kill, don't steal, don't rape, don't torture, don't enslave, don't lie. Love your fellow man and bring flourishing to the earth, because you're supposed to be a steward, not a tyrant. Yeah, I think that would be a nicer. If that exists in the Quran, it would be better than saying, "Hey, don't show up early for dinner." He said, "If you're invited to my house, don't show up early for dinner." And also, the whole thing of him saying, "Don't marry my wives after I die" randomly is so self-serving. It doesn't say, "Don't marry men's wives after I die," or like something like that. It's like, "No, me. Don't marry my wives after I die," which is like incredibly self-serving and not the sort of advice that the timeless God would give to the sort of like people for all time. You're expecting this book to be in effect for thousands of years, and it's having this. It just has a sentence instead of saying "don't torture people," it says "don't marry the prophet's wives."
Oh, maybe the prophet was all at STDs, you know. I mean, have you thought of this?
Deepak, I do not hope you respond to this. Sam, you want a Muslim to respond to this, don't you? Or do you want some more sort of flowery language?
Well, Deepak hasn't been talking a lot, so what do you want to say? Like, you go Deepak, and then you.
So we're going to have two adversaries, two comments. So we're going to need now two Muslims to respond to this. Yeah.
It's been me versus you and Nubian for hours. So.
Marty is a true Spartan. Like I can hold Thermopylae, but I need the equal number.
Every one of these arguments, Sam, I don't even know why you put the time in to write these arguments down. Every one of these arguments that you're discussing, I have already dismantled to you personally in debates that you have yielded on in my house. So when I read the thing, I thought you were coming with something new. We spent hours having conversations where you even commented out of your own mouth and said, you know what? That perspective. You know what? That perspective. I even asked you, I said, how Muslim are you at the beginning of the question? You said on a scale between 100, you said you were 10% chance that it's true, 90% chance it's false. And by the end of our conversation, you had reduced that to a 80-20. Then you went and wrote all the same arguments down. So for me, it's like, I'm bored because I've already addressed all these with you. I've done it too.
There's no response with the answering there.
Yeah, Marty did it too.
Wait, hold on. Deepak, what did you want to say to what I said, and then we.
I had both. I had two answers. Like, Mahdi asked for like an equivalent book or something. Like, my first one would be like Principles of Mathematical Analysis by David Rudin. Right? We can go over that line by line if you want. But actually, a more serious answer, honestly, is like something very similar in a sense to the Quran. Is like The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. Like, I actually think that is a beautiful work of moral philosophy. Sorry, can I not?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Look, I know you can describe me. You probably will because you're probably bigger. You are probably stronger than me, so yes, you could probably describe me. But like,
I'm talking about that.
Could I please finish? Like, cause the Prophet by Khalil Gibran.
You didn't finish, sir.
Can I even finish? Like, it is like a beautiful, beautiful book of moral philosophy, and I think it's kind of like the language is kind of sort of steeped in, like, to me, like a sort of seems like an Arabic tradition, right? Like, I think he was from Libya or Lebanon, and that's what the Quran should have been, both in length and in content.
Okay, so now I'm going to deal with two different points. I'll deal with you, Deepak, in a moment. I don't think you even understood the point. And I'm going to give you time to think about it whilst I'm responding to Sam. So an all-embracing wisdom like the Quran, and we can now compare the actual magnitude of this book compared to the Quran in any facet, by the way. I'd expect it to be an all-embracing wisdom, something that actually a guidance for humanity, not some so-called book on algebra. I could write you a book on algebra. It's not going to be much of value. I could write you a book on calculus. I could mesmerize you on the subject area, but it's not going to be much of humanity. It's going to be have a specific use for a specific set of people in a specific set of areas. I could write you those books, but you don't seem to understand the point. In terms of a guidance for humanity, a timeless message to guide humanity for the decadence that they're in terms of their abuse, their human rights, and so on, the purpose of their life, and on and on and on, and actually also into the mathematics and the sciences and so on. We'll deal with that in a moment, but I don't think you understand. Think about it for a moment, then we could both have the laugh. But for the meantime, let me respond to Sam too. I think he had two salient points. One, don't turn up early for dinner. We dealt with this. And two counts. I said to you, is it a false teaching? Then we could figure out whether it's Allah that said this or Muhammad invented the book on his alias. The first question, is it a valid teaching? Valid teaching, first and foremost. Then we could now start to go to the second point. Where does it emanate from this teaching? Is it the shy man, according to the Quran, whether the divine is speaking on his behalf, or is it the man himself, who just doesn't want to say it directly?
Quran doesn't abolish slavery.
Moon, I'm actually addressing Sam. Do you understand? You could hold your horse and conjure up one devastating argument against Islam, because I've been looking for this half of my life. I haven't seen it. Seen these innuendos. That's the first
Quran doesn't abolish slavery.
The second point, Sam raised, don't marry the messenger's wife. Don't marry just some other wives, specifically the messenger's wife, because this is grievous in the sight of God. Now, Sam, I don't think you really understand the point here. And let me just give you the background of what it says in the Quran itself. So, with regards to the so-called believers, there are lots of things that they're allowed and not allowed to do as good conduct. One of them is that when it comes to the messenger's wives themselves, the wives themselves, the Quran addresses them. Tells them, look, if you're not happy with Islam or the messenger's wives themselves, and they will be divorced right now. You'll be given. Just ask for it. You begin with that. You could go and marry anyone you like out there. You go back, any good, any heathen, any so-called non-believer, marry whoever you please. The Quran actually gives them this particular issue offering about twice in the Quran itself. However, they choose to be believers, then they need to adhere to the instructions of Allah first and foremost, and then His Messenger. It's not a game, by the way. Allah didn't create the cosmos and send down revelation as according to the book itself as a joke, so that everyone can entertain. But then marry who they want, they can marry everyone. They're alive. Now, for a believer, why does it say do not marry the messenger's wife? It's one of two reasons. Either one, Muhammad is jealous and selfish, or two, actually causes a fitna. We could engage and analyze both of them. Do you know what the fitna is, by the way, Sam?
A struggle or conflict.
Yeah, conflict. Now, some people will seek the wives of the messenger not because of their handsomeness or beauty or whatever, because of the association with the messenger himself. So just, for example, the late Queen of England, even in her 90s, if she was free in the market, she went married, there would be a lot of young snappers who will offer themselves for a position and title, not because of her good looks or anything, for a position of title, and it could cause grievous harm.
What does this have to do with slavery?
Be quiet. You don't. Now we'll deal with slavery in a moment. It's going to shock your mouth as well in a moment. So I'm responding to Sam's 2 points initially, and then I will respond to his other points regarding cutting off hands, as he puts it, derogatory practice, and then he talks about slavery. I'll respond to those 2 points initially, afterwards. But let me deal with the 2 anecdotes that he raised. Don't come to dinner too early. That's why the Quran actually used that phrase. Is it a false teaching, Sam? That's the first question I need to ask you. And the second issue, we'll deal with the wife scenario. Now, we're looking at the veracity, then we'll look at the sources afterwards. Sam, is it a false teaching?
Kinda.
In what way?
Like sometimes you should show up early, sometimes you shouldn't. It depends on the context. Also, there's more important things to say than that.
So, somebody told you to come in at a particular time for food. So obviously, for you to come too early, that means there was a time that was fixed. Somebody told you come at midday for food, or come in the evening for a later meal. Somebody invited you, and you should come up in the afternoon. So you now would have 2 free meals. In the afternoon, the man may be sleeping, they maybe have other things, duties, and so on. You come too early, and you keep on doing this. And at some point, the divine steps in and says, actually, don't do this. This man is a humanist, he has a big heart. I don't actually like what's happening here. Abuse of my messenger. Or Muhammad is too shy. And by the way, he was shy, and he didn't want to say it. He didn't have to use the Quran. He could have just put guards outside his house. 2 guards. And we have for lots of good reasons, by the way. Protection from other enemies. He has lots of enemies. Inside the community and outside the community. He's in a state of war. One with an entire tribal group. There's 2 empires looking at him. They're also wanting to war. They already sent agents. The man doesn't seem to be nervous. He trusts his God. What Allah told him in the Quran, I will protect you from mankind. He did station, then he goes outside his house. Those guys would have served lots of purpose. They would send anybody who came down too early, they just send them on their way. Here's what they do. When you're visiting any dignitary, they usually have guards outside their house. And they would just send you away. The guy doesn't have to speak to you. You don't know this guy or this guy's. So he's not in any position of embarrassment whatsoever. They don't know. They never came to you. So they never heard it from you with the guards. They think the guards are harsh. Just put 2 guards outside your house. You've done the whole job. No, actually, the Prophet Muhammad didn't do any of this. He never had guards outside of his house. That's why people came and languished and stayed, and even when they were not invited. The guy had a big heart.
Why is it wrong to arrive at dinner early? Why is that?
Yeah, because it is. But some people, sometimes they do waste your time. They
So
come
who
in, they
has
have
to step down or violate his term
you
on
got
the
time
pledge?
to sleep. You might have some other duties at home. We just want to actually prepare the food itself. Now somebody comes early, you might be doing something else. You might be remembering your God. You might be praying. They come and waste your time. Start lingering around as invites. Once somebody sends you, if you got a big heart, you won't send them aside. You would normally attend to them. They'll end up wasting your time. What you're supposed to do elsewhere is in terms of farm or remember your God. You're not
It's antisocial.
Yeah, antisocial, but you having guests and you're not.
Hi, Cheyenne.
They came already to the house and they're lingering around. And you're not even attending to them.
Can you clarify?
Are they going to be wasting your time or they're going to be wasting your time? Either way, you're wasting their time is being wasted. Because they chose. You told them to come in at a particular time.
Can you send?
Yeah, I know. You like it because you have got a lot of time to waste. Probably don't have a purpose in your life. Some other people do, like especially the messenger. Yeah, purpose in his life.
Yo,
Nubian, I want to respond. You said that you'd respond to all these points before, but a lot of these points I came up with after we'd ever like between when we last talked and when I wrote this. So it's not
everything.
it's not true that you respond to all these points because I literally came up with some of these.
Which one did I respond?
There's two that I wrote today, Nubian. So yeah, you didn't fucking respond to all of them, but
Sam, you know what I'm gonna do to you. I'm just gonna take you to physics and just take that. You know what I'm gonna do.
This whole thing is the whole point of this is that it's not opportunity cost is the issue. This book is supposed to be for forever for humanity, and I have this whole point in my article, which is like, yo, we should get guidance on nuclear weapons. We should get guidance on AI. We should get guidance on mind uploading, about space travel,
65
about cloning, all this other stuff. The question of whether you should show up early for dinner and whether you should marry the prophet's wives are not the sort of things that are. The book can't be infinitely long. It just can't be that long. So then it has to be like limited, and then because it's limited, each line has to be really, really valuable to sort of justify why it's that line, rather than something about nuclear war or mind uploading or aliens or some shit like that. And that's the real problem. It's not whether it's true that you shouldn't show up to the house for dinner. It's whether it's the most important thing that God could have given us in his final testament to man.
Sam, let me tell you.
Sam, did you already go through 65-4 or no?
Sam, it was the best he could do with like the illiterate, inbred, people.
Do you know, by the way, Sam? You know, if the Quran didn't have every single word it had, do you know it would lose certain translation? It's not only the meaning.
Sam, did you already go through the Quran 65-4 or no?
And he allowed people going on.
Oh, it's talking about the prepubescent little girls that you can have sex with in the book of divorce.
Show me that.
Surah 65-4.
Yeah, go on. Let's read it, by the way, please.
Yeah, you read it. It's your book.
As for your women past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period is 3 months. And those who have not yet menstruated as well, as for those who are pregnant, their waiting period ends with delivery. So he's basically saying the time you can have sex, you have to wait for someone to have sex with them. If they're past the age of menstruation, you wait 3 months. If they're before the age of menstruation, wait 3 months. And if they're pregnant, the waiting period ends at delivery.
No. It's how long you have to wait for the waiting period before you can divorce them after you've already had sex with them.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Sam, very quick response. First and foremost, by you, and I'm going to deal with this subject robustly.
Wait, do you accept tafsir or no? Or are you Quran only?
If I had no brain, I would be following tafsir.
You're Quran only.
He's not
Is he Quran only? Is he Quran only?
You know, this diversion, Sam, is not very good in your room. It's called chaos. One, I take it. Hold on. Yeah, Sam, why do you have respond very quickly, Nubian? Just very quickly, Nubian. I take it, first of all, by you jumping to this subject, which I'm going to deal with robustly, and hopefully we're not going to do jumping kangaroos all over the place, bits and here. I take it that you conceded the first one. It was embarrassing. So I'll forget about the one about that. Don't want to come too early at the wife's business. We'll deal with that another time. Let's deal with this first.
What chapter is that? What's the name of
I hope you don't.
Yeah, what's the chapter for 65-4? What's the chapter called? The Book of Divorce.
It's called Surah Al-Talaq.
Yeah, the Book of Divorce.
It's called the Surah of Talaq.
It's the Book of Divorce.
Surah does not mean book. But anyway, let's move on.
Well, I mean, it means chapter. It's a chapter on divorce.
Why are we moving on?
We're moving on into this verse.
Mata, we don't have to move on. If you don't want to be a kangaroo, we can. I made the.
No, I'm dealing with this verse specifically now.
Okay, if you don't want to kangaroo on, we can kangaroo.
Yes, specifically with this verse now. Now, the interesting point is there's an expression in the middle. So you read the verse. There's an expression in the middle. The Any translation was absolutely shambles. The expression is Allah ilam yahidna. And you said those who have not yet menstruated. Is that what you said?
Yeah, little girls.
Okay, so the word girls in the Quran, or little, if you like, children, is not in the Quran. It's called atfal. Adolescent females are called fatawat. Sabi is the equivalent for the male. When it talks about this entire surah, by the way, nowhere does it hint of little girls, and I'll deal with the verse directly. Nowhere does it speak of little girls or adolescent females, by the way. It's the whole verse starts, and then within the verse is the word nisa.
So the opening starts off with the Nisa, طلقتم النساء, and then within the verse talks about Nisa. Nisa happens to be mature women. Actually comes from the word Nasa, or delayed, something that's delayed later on. Somebody exceptionally mature, for your knowledge. But let's read the verse more.
Menopausal.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, pregnant women, menopausal,
I don't know,
the little girl.
Son,
Did you ask them if they got
it's not welcome.
I agree. It's
Did they all
menopausal
take the
women.
vax?
Women that are pregnant, the little baby girl.
Talking over you, I take that as a sign of fear and insecurity.
X as you suggested they all do.
I mean, I take it as insecurity that you don't take it as the boss is his word. Ibn Abbas in the Tafsir very clearly says, Jalalain says,
none of them, I've never met them. I'm dealing with the language for you and any counter idea.
They all wanted
So the
Doge.
language is very specifically, Allah ilam yahidna. You rendered this in your translation, this interesting phrase. So those who have gone through the age of menopause,
Did they all take the vax as you suggested? They all do. Stop the spread of the They all take the vax as you suggested. They all do.
If anybody said this to you,
They all
those who
wanted
have
Doge.
not yet menstruated is
little baby girls.
It doesn't. Allah ilam
Like 12 to 13 years old.
I mean, that's why it says women who are menopausal.
Somebody interrupted.
Then it shows a woman who's pregnant. And then it shows little baby girls.
I would leave
Guys,
them and
stop, guys. You know the rules of my house are to get to the point quickly and to not interrupt. So just.
I've been interrupted about 12 times. People just cannot. All there is homophobia. Yeah. So the point here, I'm saying to you, this expression, Allah ilam yahidna, I'm actually challenging anyone out there. It means specifically those who are not menstruating, not those who have not menstruated. I could prove this to you linguistically, even from the Quran. The key word, by the way, is lam yahidna. This lam.
They all wanted
Doge. Can never
Doge.
mean those who have not menstruated. It's those who are not menstruating right now. And actually, it encompasses 3 category areas, not 2 as you think. So the word lam, if you wanted to look at it, by the way, you could look at it by this word itself. It's not never or have not. It's those who are not. So if you look at, for example, the Wadu verses, in lam tajidu man, so if you don't find water, this is the exact same word, by the way. It's not that you've never found water. It's that if you don't have water now accessible to you right now, you do not carry out what is called wadu, you carry out tayammum. Now, somebody interestingly, some sectarians, they come up with this nonsense. They tell you those who have not menstruated, as opposed to those who are not menstruating. Now, those who have not, we take them to kids, because kids, up to the moment, they have not yet gone through the so-called adolescence. The LDS and the hormones have not kicked in. So they have not yet menstruated. There are some pedophiles in the Muslim world that masquerade as Muslims. I do agree. Some of them may even be great shuyukh. But the word itself, to argue that this expression means those who have not menstruated is a lie linguistically. It's actually the expression.
Does it make sense in the context? Like, which one makes more sense in the context?
It's little girls.
Only one of them. Only them. And by the way, the verse actually structures in 3 categories. Those who are reach menopause, because most of the time you're talking about people in their 40s, and you're going to keep them behind, just in case you don't know whether they actually are menopausal or not, or going through the stages. They may still be bearing. And so they will normally stay for that period of time. Then there are those who are, the last category are those who are already heavy laden with children. So you could see they would.
Okay, but why would it say those who are not menstruating? Why would it say wait 3 months, have sex with those who are not menstruating? It doesn't make any sense.
No, it says you can't. No, it says you can't divorce them for 3 months. You gotta wait 3 months because the little girl already had sex. You gotta make sure she's not.
It's to check if they're pregnant. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's the waiting period to make sure she's not pregnant because she's a prepubescent little girl.
No. That makes absolutely no sense. You're just saying dribble.
I mean, that's what 65.4 says.
Yeah, so 65.4 is talking about Nisa, by the way. Nisa, they're called women mature. They're not kids. The entire chapter doesn't mention anything other than Nisa.
Yeah, but your definition of maturity is a lot more different. I mean,
they think they're 12 years old.
Yeah, 3-year-olds and mature. You can have sex with
Why is this guy interrupting my
scripture, not the Quran. Now, the point is here, is actually this particular category is dealing with women who are pregnant but not showing. It's the whole reason why they're actually not menstruating. So the moment a woman gets pregnant, guess what? She's not going to menstruate. So we show it. So the last bit of the verse dealing with women who are already heavily laden. So heavily laden. You have to wait until the delivery. Guess what? These women also are actually pregnant. That's why they're not menstruating. But they're not heavily laden. It's not ahmal. Ahmal means they're actually conceived already.
So girls can get pregnant at like 12 years old.
Yes, apparently in your society, because you guys are probably pedophiles.
No,
Muhammad had sex with Aisha at 9. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never met Aisha. Have you?
One second.
Do you guys actually do law?
I'm saying like you should probably kick this Sudan guy 10 times by now for violating like the rules of your room. I don't know why
You just create
I think like this is
commercials?
some weird motivated thing that you're now doing, Sam. Like that's a critique on you.
Okay, that's fine. But just what are you trying to say about the 3 months thing? What's your interpretation of it?
Like what he and Moon are saying like makes absolutely no sense. Like it's just drivel. Like Muddy is like just plain correct about this verse.
This room is really hard to. You guys are really amped up, and this is like really hard to like keep control. I really don't like you guys interrupting, and I really don't like you guys going on and on. I like it to be that you speak for like 2 minutes max, and then you just like, pass the mic. You don't interrupt each other. That's my preference.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. You even do like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
I read 65.4 and I feel like it's kind of a null-up, right? Because it says, as for your women past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period is 3 months. But now that we read that, we do know, right? So the waiting period isn't 3 months anymore.
Deepak, you're reading a translation that's like in question. Like, I would suggest looking at the website corpus.quran.com where you can get parallel translations of various different sources, and you can also get word by word of any word verse that
Which
you want.
one's in contention? The Haas, the Wars, or the Doors?
How do you know the one he's reading from is not legit?
Yeah, how convenient. Like, which part? Like, which part are you disputing? I'm just saying, like, if the conviction you do not know, the
entire conversation has been, as far as I heard, the dispute whether the verse is talking about age of menstruation or not. And Mahdi is saying it's not talking about age of menstruation. He's talking about adult
Actually, can
women
you clarify there on the
currently
pledge page? Can you send me this pledge decision?
not any
We'll
sort
sign
of
the send
age
for
of
the verify
menstruation.
the pledge. Thank you,
like, you weren't listening to what I said, because it's not that part that I was. Anyway, whatever. It was just a joke. Please.
Oh, it was a joke?
Yeah, who'd have thought? Did anyone get it though? No one got it?
No, I mean, I thought you were actually pointing out some sort of contradiction.
Well, it's just like an inane, like, literalist reading, right? To say that, like, if someone says X is, in case you don't know, X is true, right? But now you do know, so it's not true. Or at least, like, the conditional doesn't hold it.
I think that's a programmer. Yeah.
So those obviously is obvious. If you got some woman who's 90 years old and her husband passed, you don't need to keep her anything because you're not going to be bearing children. But if somebody who's in her 40s, she could still be bearing a child. And so the waiting period would be about 3 months.
Why is child marriage so prevalent in
and if she's 9 years old, you gotta make sure she's not pregnant too.
Why are people coming off the mic every single time if somebody's getting nervous? Okay, you're getting nervous. I know you have a pedophile problem society.
Hey, if she's 10 years old, you gotta wait.
Majority Muslim countries are the most pedophilic countries in the world by far.
Why are you two being
so every time I open up my mic, some people get really nervous and they have to speak over you. You said 2 minutes, yeah? I didn't even barely survive 8 seconds before I had some hoodlums who just couldn't be too impulsive.
Marty, you've been going on for like 20 minutes.
I didn't even speak 8 seconds before you.
You read the Quran. You told us how it was interpreted wrong.
I didn't.
There's different translations.
This particular time, I just opened up my mic and you couldn't help yourself, could you? This was normal.
Let Marty finish. Jesus.
I think my perception of time is like a little bit slow.
Yeah, I understand. You probably need to buy a watch. But anyway, So the point is that the verse is highlighting three categories of women. Interesting, those who are menopausal, and if you're in doubt, there's 3 months. And then it says, and those who are not menstruating, not those who have not menstruated. Allah is not that they have never menstruated. This word
Are not sweet, sweet words are not sincere. Good men are not argumentative. The argumentative are not good. The wise are not erudite. The erudite are not wise.
It's not that you've never fought water ever in your life. How did you survive? You never had a bath in your life? You never drank water? Well, you just now. But you never had access to it? You're not having water. Because water is not immediately around you. It's not what's exactly here. Those who are not menstruating right now, it's not that they have never menstruated. It never says anything with the nature. And those who are not menstruating, the reason why they're not menstruating could be illness, or, by the way, this one, they're actually definitely not showing early this one. They're not going to be menstruating. The lift of the breast, so those who are already lift, actually applies to both of them, as well as element, until they deliver. So whether it's an early pregnancy, or the woman is showing already a belly. In both cases, the waiting period is until they deliver. So whether it's 8 months that they have to wait, because they just now stop menstruating because they're pregnant, or whether they're 5 months into their pregnancy and they stop for about 6 months, or 5 months, sorry, into the pregnancy.
Okay, are you guys satisfied? That's a minute 30 seconds.
Well, like that raises the obvious follow-on question, which is like, is this waiting period, does it also apply to like anal sex?
Anyway, I know you come from a society, culturally challenged society. So why don't you go and entertain that in your culture?
Well, no, Deepak, as long as you don't like tear her or hurt her, then you can't be punished. But you can thigh her.
You can what?
Thigh her?
What?
Thigh her. It's where you close her legs or thighs together, and then you shove it inside of there.
What
and then eventually when you can slip in, then you're okay. Then if you tear her from her vagina to her rectum, then you keep her.
You're given a
And it also says go after the fat ones.
Oh my God, very specific sound.
I'm just telling you what it says, and there's...
Anyway.
It seems that the room is decaying into some interesting...
I mean, I accept the Sahabas.
This guy.
Are you guys gonna concede? Are you guys gonna concede?
Delaney, do you know how like blatantly obvious it is for you to be trans and trying to justify, pedophilic behavior? I mean, come on.
What the hell? What this guy's like unhinged or something.
Another example of this person being a deranged, person that needs to be.
I'm just saying there is a high correlation with your people.
Certifiable. You need to seek professional help. You need to go to a psychiatrist.
Right, so no one is debating Mahdi anymore about this.
It's urgent. It's urgent. Go to a psychiatrist.
No one is debating Mahdi about this, Sarah.
No, Mahdi's on your loss.
I honestly think you could concede this one. It's probably legit.
You guys have no self-control. Zeleny was in the middle of talking, and both you and Moon were just couldn't help yourselves. You're just chomping at the bit like a bunch of fucking wild baboons. Just ridiculous.
Like terrorists.
No, Sunan and fucking Moon were just... Zeleny was in the middle of talking, and then they just couldn't help themselves.
I mean, I understand about Sunan. The guy obviously needs to be confined.
So, okay,
Zeleny.
I'm gonna read... Oh, this is what it says at QuranCorpus.com. And those who have despaired of the menstruation among your women, if you doubt, then their wedding... So, if you doubt, does that mean if you doubt their pregnancy? Is that what we're interpreting it as? If you doubt their pregnancy? Is that... Zeleny, what do you think it means when it says if you doubt here?
Yeah, also it's talking
Solar
about
companies
getting divorced, women having sex with her.
Hold on.
You're still purchasing your land? As in, you could divorce her if she was not pregnant, but if she's pregnant, you can't divorce her, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that seems what the verse is saying.
Okay, if you doubt, then their waiting period is 3 months. And the ones who have not menstruated, and those who are pregnant, their term is until they deliver their burdens, and whoever. Okay, it just says 3 months. Okay. If you doubt, then their waiting period is 3 months, and the ones who have not pregnant, their term is until they're delivered. So it's like saying, yeah, it says the ones who not menstruated. What is the
Guess who's hiding in my hose box? It's an armadillo! A 9-banded armadillo to be exact. I've been wondering who's been digging in my flower beds around the house. Armadillos are amazing little diggers. Their powerful front claws help them dig burrows underground and find insects to eat. And look at their shell. That built-in armor has a really cool texture. What's weird is I typically don't see them out during the day as they're mostly nocturnal. He's so cool and cute, I just had to include it.
This particular second category and third category until they're delivered. How could a woman who has never menstruated in her life
Get adjusted like this fish. Oh, crack. Crack, crack.
She could not have anyone because she was the so she was a child. She never menstruated.
Rate my equilibrium skills. Bring back. You left some that's right.
That's just called old ones and young ones.
Your false readings. This sectarian translation.
Marty, we agree. Pregnant ones, old ones, and young ones.
I'm even entertaining, assuming it to be right for a moment. Linguistically, it's actually wrong. اللائي لم يحضن does not mean those who have never menstruated. It means those who are not. I told you this word lam. You find it all over the Quran. It never means never. By the way, it means it's a state of thing, a state that is not happening.
Not sweet, good men are not argumentative. The argument
menstruated before.
Not.
But it says lam yahidna is something different. That actually, I told you, I gave an example of this word lam. You find it in the water verse as an example. Very prolific. Why did I mention this particular verse? Because people encounter water all the time. Sometimes they're in a state.
Buddy, can you just find one tafsir that agrees with you? I'm just asking a simple question. Just one tafsir. One tafsir. They all disagree.
Low IQ people go to
Ibn Abbas, Jalalain.
Yeah. I never met them in my life. Ibn Abbas, Jalalain. None of them have authority over me.
Bro.
Yeah, you claim so. Sahaba, bro. I don't know. You talk.
No, Muhammad claims so.
Yeah. What about Muhammad?
I mean, none of the commentaries agree with you.
I don't actually want to talk to you. If you don't mind, you're too challenging for me. Your IQ is so high. I like to deal with Sam.
Yeah, 141.
Yeah, he's a human being just like me, I think. So I'm appealing to Sam. Let's assume your translation is correct for a moment, which I'm being very generous. The word lam means lan. Lan means never, by the way. Hasn't happened up to now, or will never happen. Lam yahidna. Lam yahidna means up to now, this never happened. That would be lan yahidna. Up to now, it never happened. Lam yahidna is something different. That means they're not doing it right now, for sure. I'll give you, by the way, the language. I can show you the language in the Quran itself. You don't have to go to corpus, Quran, the tafsir. You can go to the Quran itself. You actually use it. Find the usage of its words. It's quite consistent.
I'll agree with
Yeah, go and follow all the hoodlums that agree with you. Good for you, man. Now I'm demanding some. He's one of those who think, comprehend, and ponder, and understand.
I'm actually curious because it does seem like Mahdi's like assuming there's some linguistic ambiguity in the Arabic or whatever, right? It just seems far more plausible. You were complaining about like line about is this an example of using terms or what? I'm actually trying to agree with you. I'm saying like look, it seems perfectly plausible. I'm actually curious why that. I mean, I've heard this one now. It seems like Mahdi's with the tafsir all agree with this weird interpretation.
Contradiction. The contradiction is being quantified in translation.
Well, the scholars are wrong and they're right.
Yeah. Many of them are wrong.
But I don't think this is the intention of that word.
Defer to the tradition.
Yeah, then it's not even defer to all tradition.
We have something every scholar on earth is wrong.
So you just say spoke. So they're referring to some traditions, but there's some integration. They're not referring to the Arabic language for sure. I promise you that. This word lam. This is what that means they're not doing it right now. It's not that it's never happened. They're not doing it right now. And there's a good reason why they're not doing it right now. Because they're under the category not of 3 months. They're in the category until they deliver. So somebody got pregnant a month ago, and then her husband passed away. She's not going to be sure. Those who
You don't accept what it says if you are in doubt that it is 3 months, as well as those who have not yet menstruated. Every Islamic scholar is wrong. You're the only scholar who's awake around stuff.
Something else.
Do not commit adultery except those your right hand possesses.
Okay, so
and all others are permissible.
Sheikh Muhammad Abdu, so who is respected as a modern scholar of reputation in mainstream Islam. Also Rashid Rida, and he actually wrote a tafsir, so we can look at tafsir al-Manar. They both say that this verse is not about prepubescent girls. Are there historic, and there are other scholars named, I don't recognize the names, like Javed Gamidi, Sheikh Abdullah bin Bay, I don't know those names, but I know Rida and Abdul, which are huge names. So, and if we look at historical examples, so Al-Tabari says in his tafsir, this verse has been interpreted in various ways. On the basis of hadith, some people have said that this is about prepubescent girls, but he says there are other interpretations that this is about women whose menstruation is delayed due to health reasons.
was a historian.
Another interpretation says this. So like another example from the Zahiri school, Ibn Hazm, a great jurist of theirs in the 11th century, said this verse is not about prepubescent girls. Tafsir al-Kabir from the 13th century by al-Razi says this verse is not about prepubescent girls. So is this deranged person gonna stop now saying like these bullshit claims?
You said you accept Al-Tabari, but you accept Al-Tabari
are not sweet, sweet words are not sincere.
So they can ride them in the morning. I mean, because he's a historian. I don't know if we're going for scholars, Quranic scholars, or if we're just going with historians now, because Al-Tabari's got some wild shit.
Professional help. Urgently.
I'm
Urgently.
just
Like,
telling you what Al-Tabari is.
Stop interrupting me. You're like a monkey with no self-control. You should urgently go seek professional help.
You have gender dysphoria and you're telling me that I
interrupting you imp. Stop being an imp. You were debunked on your bullshit claims. I brought up the references that I found.
No,
Stop being an imp. Shut the fuck up. Stop being an imp. I brought the references. Shut the fuck up and stop being an imp. You've been shown to be full of shit and just saying bullshit. You're a deranged person who has been, when they have been shown to be full of shit and just saying nonsense, like started saying other deranged shit to change the subject. Like, shut the fuck up and go away, seek professional help, do better, get better, then return and have conversations with other people.
Wait, you came up with a historian when we were talking about Quranic scholars. So you brought up Al-Tabari.
You can have the scholars. You're just mentioning names.
Wait, Zelani, do you accept when Al-Tabari says that about the angels? No.
And I'll ask you, are you analyzing the random ramblings of individuals?
Oh, Assalamu alaikum, Mahdi. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, are you analyzing the Quran? Is your objection against the Quran, or is it rambled opinions that we could select at will? I could show you lots of scholarship out there, some within my own family, and that would eclipse some of these people. But the point, are you analyzing your objections? Is it against the Quran? Is it the random ramblings of certain people who it's questionable whether they're scholars or not? What's your objection against, Sam?
Well, my objection is against the Quran, not against.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's keep it.
You know that I've never once brought up the tafsir once in my entire document.
It's irrelevant in the tafsirs. There are many tafsirs out there. The question is which.
So I looked up the most plausible reasons why you could have an ida. One is to ensure clear paternity, so you know who the father is. Another is to allow time for reconciliation. Another is to show respect for the marriage. Another is to show modesty. Another is just a time of like reflection and mourning if there's a death. And so, for the prepubescent girl, it could have been first to show respect, show modesty, allow time for, like, they didn't have to have had sex. They could just be other reasons besides just paternity. I will say though that it's not insane to think that it was also about paternity, just because people marrying children in the past is not that uncommon, and then also like there is the paternity, and it's not totally fake. I would say it's like I would say it's like a 50-50, whether it's like mainly focused on paternity. Like, I don't think it's.
Sam, some of the people, when they raise issues against the Quran like this, it just shows the desperation. There's not one single, I'll tell you, by the way, one single evidence that is to do with prepubescent so-called girls, unless somebody resorts to the so-called selective ramblings of non-scholars out there. People who are famous and so on, not because of the scholarship, because it's by name, who themselves never managed to prove anything. But from the Quran itself, so this is focus on the Quran. From the Quran itself, then let me give you at least half a dozen reasons why this is nothing to do with some prepubescent girls. The first issue, I'm going to mention about 3 of them or 4.
One, that the entire chapter doesn't mention anything about children anywhere so whatsoever. It actually deals with women. The opening verse and this verse is soft, and it's and in the Arabic language, very specific. These are very mature females. They've already gone.
I do not understand why the Republicans are going crazy on this. For example, they want more Medicare and Medicaid cuts.
You know, featured in this chapter. When we want to talk about children, use the word atfal. These words are not alien to the Quran. They're actually in the Quran. You find them used properly. This entire chapter does not talk about children or, by the way, adolescents. The verse is soft. You've got two allies. So you're talking about two categories, not three, as some people lazily think. Two allies. So the first ally is those who are going through menopause or questions. Then another lie. وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِضْنَا, and then أولي الأرحام are those who are so-called, I think the phraseology, they're actually bearing. So this is dealing with and the second category, those who are not menstruating. There's a reason why they're not menstruating. And those who are pregnant, they're also not menstruating, by the way, or pregnant. They're both of them. It's until they deliver. Who are this first category? Some people think, oh, well, we could sneak it in. Now, some pedophiles who masturbate as Muslims, they actually want to sneak it in because they have pedophilic tendencies. They're munafiqeen anyway. Some of them are not very clever. So either one of these two reasons, when they're not very smart, or two, they're actually munafiqeen. They also misalign the Quran. So they try to carefully manipulate the Arabic language, which doesn't allow them. You could show you the verses in the Quran.
And like we were the same.
When y'all how thought it all.
Was it even a pony?
I mean, I'm going to take that route, of course, because I do find it very hard to digest. And I'm glad that there is that to, take into consideration. And since it's there to take into consideration, then I consider it.
Can you explain to them exactly what that means? Because Moon wanted to say it was weird, and Benjamin and all that, and I said, yeah, I like it when you have them. Just
Don't think it's good. I think it's horrible.
You think it's horrible for God to kill demons?
To kill demons? I don't know. Can you kill a demon?
Oh, yeah. Apparently. There's some scholars that even...
There's no such thing as a metaphor either. Metaphors don't exist. Everything is literal with these people.
So there's some scholars that, and this is the Jewish, on the Jewish scholar side, interpret the word as like bloodsuckers, that they had some kind of blood-drinking thingamabobber associated with them too. And so whenever, that's why whenever they're arguing, I go, vampire babies, obviously.
I mean, is that serious though? Like vampire babies?
I mean, I'm doing a little bit being completely, obviously, more facetious or satire, using satire, but obviously I believe that there was something that was different about them if they were genetically tied to the fallen angels.
Literal
and that was what was being resulted.
Spam
and
hypnosis.
so for my mind, because obviously I'm looking for ways to reconcile.
She's pretty big.
Well, why not wait till they're of age or something, and then for you?
She's pretty stupid.
I'm just. Can I just say this? There's nothing that's I don't see how you're changing the narrative. There's nothing that there's no justification for murdering. Like babies can't be guilty of things; they can't be evil. So there's just no like justification for like.
So I guess you've never watched The Walking Dead.
Harming them.
Yeah,
You've never watched The Walking Dead.
say like you just gotta.
I don't know. You don't have to. If you want to like joke or whatever, I'm into it.
There's no way that we can conceptualize everything. Like if we were on Walking Dead, would that be a reason? Yes. Go ahead.
They're killing 73 million a year worldwide. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
I'm sure that you can touch
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't respond to anything. Just saying that they're doing promotion doesn't respond to it.
And spoke fluently and had horns and a tail.
Yeah, obviously.
Most people use ChatGPT.
Like harming, like you're the rational one, Andrew. You're the rational one.
Yeah, killing and
I don't get it. Like, I don't know. So now you're a consequentialist now, it seems like?
no. What are you talking about? No. I'm just saying, look, that's not an innocent, that's a demonic force. What are you talking about? That's not
Why do you... how is it? What do you mean? Like, it's...
so
you're going to reason that it's not...
With horns and tails, this isn't a human. You understand that?
Well, if it's literally just a horns and tail, then it's just like some kind of atavistic, it's still human. So you're saying, okay, I think you're more fixated on the, okay, you're pointing to the fact that it's come out like speaking, with whatever vocal cords it has. I mean, I don't know, I think you'd have to consider a number of alternate hypotheses, like...
What? Like what? Like what?
Like some sort of alien implantation or something, right? I think that's far more plausible than it's. I mean, even under Christianity, that's actually more plausible to be picking up.
Oh, wait a second. Well, add this other element. God tells you to kill it. Oh, now we got something. The God who delivered you from Egypt says, "Hey, that little thing right there, pop its head off." And you say, well...
Andrew, what are you even talking about?
It's speaking fluent adult language and says, I am the Antichrist. And you're just like, oh no, God, I won't listen to you.
What are you even talking about? You sound delusional.
Come here, little cutie. Come here, cutie.
Where's all this explanation coming from, Andrew? Like, where's...
Yeah, you seem a little fresh. I don't know.
I think all those cleaning chemicals you use in the house, you should stop inhaling them.
Look, I know you want to keep all babies. Like, it's crazy. Deepak, you're like, I'll rape somebody for a cheeseburger. I'll abort 73 million babies a year. But a demon Antichrist baby with horns and a tail? Let's save that thing.
What the fuck are you even talking about?
Look, I mean, you do, like, when you give, like, look, the reason I'm fine with abortion up to, like, say, the 20th trimester stuff is I just don't consider, like, fetuses up to that age, like, persons, right? Like, beyond that, I have a lot more. I'm not opposed per se, but it's a lot more difficult after that for me, right? Like, at least the sort of legal status.
What do you think about them aborting ones with club foot or cleft lips up until 9 months? That's a justifiable excuse. 9 months.
Well, look, I mean, if you ask me after 9 months, I'm gonna have to bifurcate, right? Like within 20 weeks, yeah, I think you can like abort for like whatever reason. You can abort because like I don't know, like you ran out of children or something.
You don't even need a reason. Just say.
Yeah, you can abort for any reason. Don't have a reason. Just kill the child if you decide you don't want the baby anymore. If the baby has devil horns and a devil tail, it is your right to abort that baby.
Right.
What the fuck, dude?
I don't have to thank that guy for that because to hear his voice truly anymore. But no,
You
but
can
like,
listen to
Andrew,
this
obviously that
voice.
would be the case, right? Like if I think that up to 16 weeks, you know, you're not a person, then yes, you don't need a reason. And beyond that, like I said, it's a lot more difficult. And like, yeah,
Oh,
I don't think the reason, like, adding. Oh my God.
I'm glad that you.
Here's the kid I should have aborted. Like,
Oh my
that was
god.
ridiculous.
I'm glad
That was ridiculous. Let's
I'm glad we've
blaze.
adjudicated that we can kill humans just up until this certain time. Then that time hits, we go, no, we don't kill it anymore because now it's just a little questionable. But before that, oh yeah, kill it.
You understand why though? I don't think. I mean, the way you put it, like, means you think you didn't understand why.
Speculating about when personhood begins. When we see
Yeah, we're not speculating. We're using inference to the best explanation. We're using our best inference based on like you know and applying a sort of principle of conservatism, right? Too. Right?
Why are you acting like a baby, Andrew? Stop talking and acting like a baby.
How about the cautionary principle, though?
Andrew, don't make me bore you.
That's why. Like, that's why, like, for example.
Andrew, uncle.
Oh my God! Like, look, do you not hear people talking like?
Yeah, let me
I said, like, you know, applying a precautionary principle takes you down to like I don't know, maybe 12 weeks. I say, look, I haven't really thought about the exact number. I just know that like whatever medical science like tells us is like a very safe number for personhood beginning, right? That's where we should draw a legal line. And for me, again, like I said, it also gets a little more complicated because I do give some weight to like arguments from like what's it called, like bodily autonomy and stuff, right? But I don't think it's like an sort of endless kind of thing, right? That's a lot more tricky.
Yeah, well, I mean, I find it odd that we're playing God, or non-God in your case. But
what do you mean? Like, why is that odd? We do it all the time, though. Right?
You have the capacity. You have the capacity to be a fully formed human, fully formed just like us, you know, and do everything. It's got a future, and you snuff it out for stupid reasons. Snuffed out.
Yeah, but like I can do that by just like wrapping my semen up in like, you know, tissue paper, right? I've just snuffed out the capacity of a human that might have existed. I mean, I don't know what the capacity is supposed to do, right? Like I'm interested in actual humans, not like potential possible humans, right? I'm not a mortal realist.
Andrew, is that murder? Is the semen innocent, or is semen naturally like fallen and so it's not murder?
I just think like, and I've had conversations with religious people that often end up at this spot, right? Like I just think like the intuitions about like a zygote being a person, like being a person or the capacity and so on, right? Like when I finish, look, I think it just derives from like a belief in ensoulment, right? The idea that like the zygote like has like, you know, reached a sort of state where it has a soul like inside it, right? And yeah, I mean, if you start with that kind of like presumption, like presupposition, then yeah, it makes sense that you would think that like a zygote is worth preserving, right, over and above any other moral consideration. But I mean, that's just a hard argument for a secular person to accept.
Have you heard that scientists? Have you heard that scientists are saying that there's like a light that the body emanates, until it dies? And isn't it strange that when the sperm and the egg meet, there's a combustion of light? So what we're talking about is that the minute that light, that life force is enacted, to eliminate it would be wrong. And just to let everybody know, I've been pro-choice for a very long time. But after listening to Andrew and some arguments, I've decided that to move towards to pro-life. So because of this reason that I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean to interrupt, but so this is the reason. So wait, so you're saying there's some scientific evidence that there's something that happens when the zygote is formed, the first union, like that resembles like what exactly? Some mysterious.
It doesn't matter what it looks like.
Dude, have you been pregnant? Like, if you've not been pregnant, you can't talk about this. Like, there's a complete, there's no Deepak.
I've been pregnant, Arjun.
You have, I know, Andrew. I've seen your children too.
Maybe Bella has been
Let's blaze, do some yoga.
No, but that's not the point. Like, Michaela would tell you, there is an interaction with life that mother is going through. And I try to be as objective as possible about this, but there is life there. Like there is sensations
No one's
there.
denying life.
See?
I don't deny. If you want to call, look, viruses are alive, right?
It's a human
Prions
life.
are arguably
It's
alive.
a human life, exactly like you.
So what? Again, I don't care about its humanness.
You don't
I
care about
its
human
personhood.
life. Respecting
Yes,
human
I don't.
life.
I care
at
about
any
personhood.
stage.
Yeah, you want me to repeat it? Like, I only care about personhood, right? Because personhood seems to be the thing that we all value in every other circumstance.
Well, then
Right,
it starts.
like-
Ants are alive, like brain-killing amoebas are alive.
It's not what
But it
obviously,
starts with
obviously, Deepak, you say what we all.
Guys, save the brain-killing amoebas, guys.
All right, okay, brother. Obviously, over half the population, or somewhat close to that, don't agree. So it's not what we all value, Deepak. Obviously, people don't agree.
No, I mean, well, look, I don't know
the
about
pro-choicers.
First of all,
You mean the pro-choicers is what you mean. People are
no,
pro-choicers.
look. No, I don't actually. I actually say that if you take, I mean, okay, look, I might even accept about half of. First of all, I'm not even sure it is like over half, but like whatever. Let's say about half of people like claim to value, like
Zygotes.
claim to
Zygotes.
value. Wait. Yes, they claim to value zygotes. They claim to value the mere fact of human life. And, But I think they're just confused, right? I just think they're confused about what it is they value. But because you ask, like, why a human life, right? Like, what are they going to say?
I don't
Like,
know,
why not
because,
like
humans are
an
special.
amoeba?
because existence. No, I'll tell you why. Because existence is a virtue.
And
That's why
you can't kill. You can't kill
No,
a human.
a lot of things.
But then, like, amoebas and, like,
Amoebas are not
ants and stuff like that have to be.
To quit trolling, John. Amoebas aren't.
That's a response to Nargis. That's not a troll. Shut the fuck up and stop accusing me of trolling.
the highest virtue is existence.
Nargis, did you say anything that amoebas has any response to?
Yes, she did. She said existence must be preserved.
Yeah, and that's actually so I was making.
I said it's I know rocks
Are
included.
you, wait, Nargis, are you talking about human existence? Or are you
Of
talking
course,
about
like I would talk about existence in
You're not
itself.
talking about the Ebola virus, are you, Nargis?
Yeah, she didn't qualify it. She didn't
I didn't qualify it. I didn't qualify it, but since the argument is about human beings, that would be the pointer to human existence.
Yeah, but okay, so the point is like, why do we value human existence, right? Like, why do we not value like LLMs, right? Like, maybe you could just argue, look, I'm a speciesist. I care about my species and nothing else, right? But I don't think that's the real answer. Because like, if you look at like, for example, like just imagine like, if you've ever read like,
When does human life begin?
At conception.
am I not allowed to go on and on? I don't get it. Like, you want me to stop at like 5 sentences?
Deepak is talking about personhood, not human life. He's already said there's nothing special about human life. He's putting the burden on you to explain what's so special about human life.
I'm trying to explain what I think like grounds like this value for what people think they value about human life. And I say it's personhood, right? And I say that, for example, like, when you look at, you've all like seen science fiction movies, right? Where like some robot becomes like quote unquote human, right? Like a person. I mean, people treat it like a person, right? I don't think that's being confused about what the robot is. They know what the robot is. They value that robot as a fully formed independent existence because it exhibits many of the same sort of inner mental life, feelings, consciousness that a human does. So if that's true, I mean, and you just like to throw out like random slogans and single sentences as an argument, right? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, yes, about like and making like terrible points while doing so, right? Like anyone can do that, right? Yes. There's politicians do it.
You're just echoing, Michaela. You're just an ankle biter.
Yeah.
You're an ankle biter.
It down to like. Look, I'm just saying, like, this is what we value about human existence, right? Is the fact that like humans are persons, right? Meaning they have inner mental lives, right? They have feelings, they can suffer, they can feel joy, right?
Creeds and mistaken faith.
And if you ask me, like,
our purpose.
Okay, for whatever, like that's what I say we value about human life. And if like there is an entity that doesn't exhibit those traits, right? Like I don't think it has the same value as a human life. Sorry, as a person, as a human person.
Another universe that he has found, where anyone can begin anew, where you can live free of pain, a perfect new place called.
I'm just saying the back Deepak has got 3 or 4.
Look around you.
I do
Every
differentiate
necromonger in this hall,
living organic matter.
every one of the
to
Legion
something that is
vast that just swept
consciously
aside your
self-aware.
defenses in one night,
To me, there is
was
a
once like
distinction
you.
between a clump of cells.
Fought
And so maybe
as
that's personal. Go
feebly
ahead.
as you.
Because every necromonger that lives today
It's an individual
is a convert.
species that is in its first stages of life, and you leave it alone.
Began as something else.
A person, and you're as
It was
you
hard for
define.
me to accept too.
But you're saying that
When
there
I
are
first
human
heard these
beings that are
words.
not persons,
But I
right?
changed.
And that's what that's what
I let them take away my pain.
That's right.
Betrayed your
All
faith,
humans
and I
are
changed.
persons. That's
Just as
that's
you
a quality
will
of being a
change
human being.
when you
is that you're a
realize
person.
that the
You're not
underverse will be reached
Don't tell me
only
that
by
a
those who have embraced the necromonger faith.
Or
For those of you who will right
Look, I don't
now,
know, you're just using the terms differently.
your
Then, right? When you say that human being,
knees
by
and ask
definition, a
to be
person or something,
they're not like a
you're
skin,
using the words
the
like
skin
that.
that's not, it's not like some skin that, came off that sunburn.
this is a
It's quite
I think they have. I think like a single, like an individual blastocyst has about the same moral value as like string.
That's the moral value you choose to give it. You withhold moral value from some humans. And if you look at an embryology textbook for the definition of when human life begins, they'll say at fertilization. Yeah, look it up. Unless
I don't need to because I'm not. Nothing I said.
Unless they claim
Fine. Like again, that does nothing to address my point, right? But my point is that I'm distinguishing life from personhood. And personhood is the thing that I'm not.
human life.
So it doesn't matter what some embryonic textbook tells you about life.
What species is that zygote? It's a human. It's a
take the Lord Marshal's offer and bow.
Again, how does this address my point? I don't get it. I'm
talking about
distinguishing life
respecting
from personhood.
life, not just the kind
No, we're
of
not.
life that does certain
No, we're not. You keep wanting to shift that.
There's not a
You keep
man.
wanting to shift the debate to that
Is the holy
topic. But I'm telling you that personhood is what we value.
I disagree with your definition of what should be respected.
But then don't give me like textbook definitions of life then, right?
No,
Because that's
human
not a
life.
dispute.
Human life.
It doesn't matter. The definition of life is not, or human life is not in dispute. But the definition of personhood that's in dispute here.
Well, I was part of the personhood campaign in Colorado, and we were saying that that all humans are equal, and that personhood begins with conception. So it's whatever you're manipulating. You're manipulating ideas, and you're manipulating words. You're not looking at the facts.
Was this in Colorado or Arizona? Then if
Yeah,
it's in Colorado, then I rest my case. You
we
must
tried
be
it
right.
3 times.
Oh, then
Too
you
many
must be
liberals
right.
here.
Yeah.
Too many liberals.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was in Colorado, right?
Deepak, could you tell us?
I don't know how many times to say this, but
El normal,
Zionist.
if you say so.
Deepak, could you tell us what your
I think it's Walter.
Yeah, someone's. And can we just not have open mics if you're not talking? Because there's some really bad background noise and.
I think it's a half gram heavy on the back end. In our faith.
So,
You keep
Otis, what are your thoughts on this? Like, I started off as pro-choice, not because I didn't think it was wrong
Taking back to my ship for mind regression.
abort a child. It's just that I'm a libertarian, and I just didn't want government telling me or anyone, for that matter, what they should do with their bodies medically. But Andrew and some others convinced me, like through this, for example, if somebody was doing drugs while they're pregnant, could they be detained for that? And they said that they could be charged for doing harm to their fetus. So once I learned that, then I began to decide that yes, the only time I really want government or police intervention is when it's harming someone other than the person. And in that case, because I do believe the fetus is a life, then that life needs to be protected. But what do you think, Otis?
Can you give me 7 minutes?
I sure can. You sound a little bit far away, but 7 minutes it is.
Sayla, do you think any pro-life person would have the same fervent, passionate attitude
about a child living a decent life as they would simply about them being born? Do you think they have, once the child is born, do you think they have any concern on the same level for the child's life as they do just trying to make sure?
Probably not, and that's another.
Exactly.
That's another thing that needs to be worked on.
Well, I don't really want to have like a throwdown here, but I'll just say that's actually not. That doesn't really make a lot of sense because if somebody, it's really weird. So if I'm opposed to somebody murdering the elderly, you don't then say, "Are you concerned about the elderly? Could you go to old people's homes and make sure that they eat and do well?" I mean, just to be clear, just as a matter of fact, many people do care about pregnant women and help them through the pregnancy, not just that, but through the childhood. There's tons of centers that do this. So it isn't just about their pregnancy. But just think about the reasoning. It's fallacious.
Yeah, did you notice that he did not mention the life of the child?
It doesn't matter. But listen to what I'm saying, though. It doesn't, the pregnancy and through the birth and through the life of the child, the toddler, the infant. They do help them. And I know plenty of agencies that do this. I'm pretty big into this. But yeah, we have many others. But here's the thing. It isn't just that. It's just, think about the reasoning that's being employed. Oh, you're pro-life, huh? You care about babies. Well, do you go and help all the orphanages and all the foster children? That's fallacious. If we just say you can't kill a baby, that's just saying you can't kill a baby.
Wait a minute, Andrew. I have been to orphanages all across the world. What are you talking about?
No. I don't know if you're listening. You can't kill a baby.
I am listening.
The point is you can't kill a baby. That's the point. And it doesn't matter if, say I never gave a cent and did anything to help babies, which isn't true. But say that I never did anything to help babies. If that were the case, I'm still saying you protect human life. It doesn't matter if I help them or not. I'm just saying you can't murder them. And that's just a matter of basic human rights. So it isn't a matter of like, oh, you need to watch somebody all throughout their childhood and their teens, whatever, and then young adult, whatever, up to adulthood, up to elderly age, middle age, elderly age. No, that's not true. That doesn't follow. And I'm going to protect all of those people from being killed.
Well, so, Andrew, how did you go so quickly from killing the Amalekites to protecting life? Like,
we're not talking. Okay, look. So
how did that happen so quickly? Do I have such a powerful effect? Is that why you won't let me in your rooms? Is because it changes you? It took me 45 minutes, Selah. This was amazing.
That took a long time.
So people are going to have to get this real straight in their head. If God exists, does God have the right? Is it his body, his choice? Is it his property, his choice? Does he own the earth? Can he do what he wants to do with it? If you're on his property, can he evacuate you? Just like a woman can evacuate a baby out of her womb? Can God do that?
Well, we had him for a minute now.
Demons have no spiritual.
I can talk now. This is everything.
If your mic is horrific.
You're so far away. Like it's opposite of big mics.
You ever go to a farm and there's this chicken that's up on the top of the roof and it's pointing in different directions? And then you look and it switches and then it switches again. I feel like
very small mic energy.
I feel like Andrew is shifting pretty quickly. Andrew, can you make up your mind? Do we protect life or not?
Andrew, come on, man. It's her body, her choice, but not when it comes to COVID vaccines. Everybody's got to get vaccinated.
Please don't scroll. I'm just trying to become a big content creator one day, but I have no supporters. So if you have the chance, please subscribe.
This is the last time
my rod and I've got my bait. All I've got to do is sit here and wait for the big fish to come my way. Even if it's gonna take all day. Here, fishy, 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 here, fishy, fishy, fishy. Here, fishy, 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 here.
If you or a loved one...
It's us as the theists kind of making fun of the atheists in the title, but it's a secular room.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is that
As for your name,
a Christian, but some of his application of Christian principles to the topic has me flabbergasted because God doesn't think about things this way. So it's just strange that he would on the one hand claim to care about life, but on the other hand show complete disregard for certain lives. I'm so anyway. How do I feel about it? So I'm a pragmatist. And so when I think about the abortion question, I understand that we are talking about the short-term and long-term effects of a decision on two human beings. A woman who's carrying a fetus and the fetus itself, which was once a zygote. Okay? Now, I don't agree with Michaela who says that personhood begins at conception. I just think that that's silly. Well, first of all, the question of personhood is not a scientific question. It's a philosophical question. Perhaps in the United States it may become a legal question at some point.
So that you can be...
Philosophers don't agree on what personhood is and when it begins, and we certainly have not defined personhood under the law. So right now, personhood is a philosophical concept, and even the scientific community hasn't decided when life begins. Ask 100 scientists, and you'll get more than one answer. I think, and please may I finish? I think any position on this topic that disregards the rights of the woman carrying the baby is a non-starter. It's a biased position, and it's not helpful, because what it assumes from the jump is that the only rights that matter are the rights of the unborn child.
Yeah.
So that's all I'll say right now, because Andrew's argument
Unlearn so that you can be led by Tao.
No rights at all. And that, let me finish, Andrew. I'm not interested in talking to you about this, because I've been listening. And I've heard you speak in rooms before.
Some Ice Age animals are so well...
I'm just letting you know that regardless of what you say, your position assumes that the woman has no rights. You've never once talked about the rights of the woman. All you've done is talk about the rights, implicitly or otherwise, of the unborn infant. And by the way, your so-called care or concern about the baby.
Come cook a giant Pacific octopus with us. Since this is a very special cook, we got an actual chef with us today. He became very soft, and we threw him in boiling water for another 30 minutes. In the meantime, I cut up each tentacle individually to freeze it, because that's also another way of tenderizing the meat. We then take out all the guts and organs out of the head, remove the skin, and we're going to save the head, throw in the freezer, and save it for a future meal. At this point, the tentacle was done boiling, and it's ready to be cut up for poke. We removed any remainder skin, sliced it up, threw in some sesame oil, chili oil, soy sauce, and it was ready to be eaten. Since we tenderized the meat very good, it was very soft, and this poke bowl was a 10 out of 10. For the second dish, we boiled these tentacles a little longer, 2 hours total time, and then we threw on the char grill. We also left the skin on just to give it that extra crispy burnt texture, threw some miso glaze on it, and honestly, this octopus was just in a ballpark of its own. I've never had anything like it, and this meal was a straight up 10 out of 10. Okay.
Logically fallacious. Secondly, I would like to point out that many people who fight this, the reason this is a very difficult argument to have, something like that egregious, it makes it very difficult because you feel convicted about it, where you think, hey man, this is not right, like I shouldn't have done it. You feel convicted, and a lot of times, instead of acknowledging that and coming to terms with what you've done, you just go the other direction and say, no, it's not something I need to worry about. This isn't bad. Keep in mind, you say that the I just think that what you're saying is ridiculous, and the which you are absolutely wrong on, and you can look it up, and anybody here can. This doesn't matter if you're secular, purple, Christian, agnostic, Muslim, or it doesn't matter what you are. Type it in. When does human life begin? They've done a survey, something like 96% of all biologists that they surveyed said human life begins at conception. This is an indisputable, this is the overwhelming consensus. So it's absolutely false what you just said. Ask 100 scientists, you'll be getting different answers. No, that's not correct. First of all, ask biologists, people who understand when life actually begins, and they'll tell you that it starts at conception. And that can even be pro-choice people. That's why the people who argue for pro-choice don't say, hey, don't kill human life. They'll just say, don't kill human persons. They don't talk about human life, human persons. So they have this somewhat arbitrary line that they put and say, oh, well, when it's self-aware, it can feel pain, da-da-da-da-da. They say all these different things. It's like, yeah, I'm glad we can play God and now kill humans.
Andrew, can you just define personally? Hang on, Andrew. The Torah believes that life begins with the first breath.
So let me respond.
I thought he was addressing the room.
No, he was addressing.
I'll go after you, Otis.
Yeah, it'll be quick. So just two things. The first thing I'd like to say, Andrew, is that you are incorrect when you said that the only right the woman has is the right not to kill her child. That isn't true. Here in the United States, the courts who handle this issue have all recognized that in deciding whether women should have access to abortion care, they have to balance the interest in respecting the rights of the woman to bodily autonomy against the interest in protecting the life of the fetus. So they've recognized that one of the rights the woman has is the right to bodily autonomy. It's the right that every human being who is a person has. That's the first thing. The second thing I'll say is that your argument disregards the real consequences that flow from deciding to carry a pregnancy to term or deciding to terminate it early. When women who are not ready to have children, the process upends their life in many material ways. Pretending that doesn't matter is simply heartless. The final thing I'll say is this. When people who claim to be Christians say that they're trying to do God's will by forcing women who don't want to carry pregnancies to term to carry pregnancies to term, what they fail to realize is they're doing the very thing that Jesus Christ made clear God doesn't want to do. God isn't interested in forcing people to do his will. He is interested in people voluntarily deciding to follow him and do what he wants. He allows human beings to make their own decisions. That is one of the features of humankind. You get to choose what you want to do. The Bible makes clear that God is not interested in human robots. He's not interested in forcing people to follow him. So if you're going to make your arguments against people accessing abortion care, feel free to do so. But leave God out of it, because God is not interested in forcing people to follow him. He's not.
Darren LaHood is violating his own term limits pledge. Remove and replace Darren LaHood, vote John Kitover, 16th District.
That compels you to do everything you can to force people to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah. So you haven't read the Bible, I guess. So.
Oh, I have.
Okay. Well, let me respond to you because you don't know what you're talking about. So actually, it's not the case that God's not into forcing people. God actually said that the governments are placed here on this earth to stop evil. Okay? And they carry the sword to do so. You know what the sword is? The sword is the means to put somebody to death.
Oh, Jesus never said that, Andrew.
Jesus never said that? Oh, well, I said God said it. Nope. Well, hold on.
Jesus never said
and that's correct,
that.
God said it, because God speaks through people. And if you're going to say Jesus never said it, well, let me just inform you of something. The Bible wasn't written by Jesus. It was written by people, okay? People quoted Jesus, okay? So when people write things on behalf of the Spirit, you either trust it or you don't. And I trust the Spirit that led the authors of the Bible. If you trust them on the words of Jesus, then let's also trust them on the words of Paul. So I trust the authors of Scripture. The authors of Scripture, one of them being Paul, said that the government is here to institute good, to carry a sword to punish evil. Okay? That means the death penalty. So it is the case that God wants governments to take charge and to do something. You don't just let people murder and rape and say, oh, let's get together and sing Kumbaya. Doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. Secondly, your point about the effects that it has to be pregnant on a woman. Oh, we got to think about I didn't say not to.